no matter what time I'm getting up.
That's wild. Your sleeping habits are crazy. No, I would absolutely sleep through it. Now, the days of me sleeping till 9 o'clock, 9:30, obviously with the early show, we're up. But back in the day, doing TV for as long as I did, man, I'd sleep that next morning till about 10:30. I love those days. Stay up late and then sleep late. Now it's unfortunately got to stay up late at times when there's late games going on, and still get up early. It still hits you like a ton of bricks. So yesterday, after we got off the air at 10 o'clock, sometime later in the morning or early afternoon, I'm not sure when it happened, but Tom Herman was fired as the head coach at Florida Atlantic. One I thought would work out, and it did not. And then later in the day, Biff Poggi, Moneybags, was let go from Charlotte, Mr. Cutoff Shirt, making it 5 American coaches who have been canned this season. This is not the end of the season. This is still in the season. 5 American coaches. And what's ironic with the firing of Tom Herman, that means after Stan Drayton's firing from Temple on Sunday, after Temple had beaten Florida Atlantic, it means both coaches in that game, win or lose, were fired. Both of the team's nicknames, the Owls. That also means all 3 schools in the American that have the nickname Owls have fired their coach this year. And if you throw in Kennesaw State, the 4 teams in FBS with the nickname Owls have all fired their coach in season here in 2024. Just some crazy stuff.
So they're all saying, who is our head coach?
Who is our, and we don't give a hoot. We got to get somebody in here who can win. But it also tells you that there is desperation because of the portal and making a move to let these players know, mainly the portal guys, but certainly the high school recruits coming in, that, yes, a change is a-coming, and the change is going to rapidly come.
Yeah, I mean, again, you because of the early signing now, and with the fact that your guys have that ability to leave in the portal, you can't really, if you wait till the end of the season, it just makes it hard to have a person in place for signing day and to try and, hold on to your current roster, recruit other guys out of the portal, whatever. I think I saw Florida Atlantic apparently has a pretty good recruiting class, supposedly coming in out of the high school ranks. How many of those actually come or not, but you've got to get your new coach in place, hopefully, probably a week or so after the season is over. So it's just hard to wait around now. And so more and more of these in-season firings, especially when you get to this point of the year, you're not going to a bowl game, whatever. Why wait around? Just get rid of the guys, start doing your interviews, and try and make that hire and see, hopefully, you could hold on to the guys on your roster that you actually want to hold on to, but more importantly, give them as much time as possible to go get new guys to try and upgrade the roster. But five guys. There's only 3 coaches in the American Conference that were hired before 2023.
Right. I'm going to go over that list here in a second, but
it's crazy. They just don't. The American Conference. You just wonder, like, again, with revenue sharing coming in, these programs are obviously showing that they care about winning and they want to win, but what is going to be possible? And so for coaches out there, if you're looking at these jobs, obviously most of these are going to probably be hiring a lot of first-time head coaches or whatever. And again, but with what coordinators are making from Power 4 schools, are any of these jobs, like, how attractive are they to go to a school where you go, man, what are my chances of actually being able to win there? And if I go in there and lose badly and get fired, how much does that hurt my chances of ever getting another head coaching job versus staying as a coordinator or whatever somewhere else and continuing to try and have success and wait for maybe a better opportunity than what these jobs are?
The top tier coordinators may move in that direction, but for the most part, the chance to be a head coach is what all these coaches want to be. And sometimes you can't look at a situation, get offered, and turn it down and expect to get another offer. It may never happen. That's why you see coaches who have been at the highest of levels taking jobs that seem to be beneath them, because they all want to be head coaches. They want to run the show. So you can get names. There's no question you can get names. I mean, hell, Florida Atlantic, although a beautiful area of the country, had Lane Kiffin. And so Tom Herman, another big name. It just didn't work out. Now, currently, Chris Vanini tweeted this out.
Both of them were hired basically on rehab assignments.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of those, but also first-time, the possibility of being a first-time head coach, you're going to take that opportunity. You're going to jump on that opportunity, no matter where it is, even if the situation is bad, because most of the time the situation is going to be bad. There's not too many places that are at the top of their game and they fire their head coach. Michigan won a national championship, but the coach left to go to the NFL. Those things happen, but usually you're not going to get a firing of a coach when you're having a great season, so it's going to be a program that's struggling. And you're going to get that opportunity. You're probably going to jump on that opportunity. So this is from Vanini. FBS head coaching openings. They're all group of 5. Ball State, East Carolina, Florida Atlantic, Kennesaw State, Rice, Southern Miss, Temple, UMass. And then he also, in this tweet, writes Utah State and Fresno State both began the season with interim coaches. So that's what you have right now. You mentioned the coaches in the American Conference. You have Army, of course, just joining the conference with Jeff Monken, who's done a real nice job there. So Charlotte with Poggi gone, Tim Brewster becomes the interim head coach. East Carolina fired Mike Houston. Blake Harrell's the interim coach. Florida Atlantic now will have Chad Lunsford as their interim coach after firing Tom Herman. Navy's got Brian Newberry, who's in his second year after the ouster of Ken Niumatalolo, who went to San Jose State. North Texas is Eric Morris, who's in his second year. Rice has an interim in Pete Alomar. South Florida has Alex Golish, formerly on the Tennessee staff, in his second year. Temple now has Everett Withers as an interim. Everett Withers, was he a former North Carolina coach, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
He replaces Stan Drayton. Tulane, John Sumrall, who came from Troy and is doing an outstanding job in his first year with Tulane. Tulsa has Kevin Wilson. He's in his second year. UAB has Trent Dilfer, and who knows what will happen at the end of the season there. That could be a move. He's in his second season. Jeff Traylor from UTSA has been there since 2020 and is looked at as one of the better coaches, not only in the conference, but really in the country. And then Ryan Silverfield, who is the old man of this conference when you think about it, right? He has been here since actually the same as Traylor, but he's also been with the program since 2017. And there are some, even despite a 9-2 record, because of the disappointment of not going to the conference championship game this year, they want to change. Some people. And that's not going to happen, but that's the uproar, and you're 9-2. Well, these are struggling programs that are trying to find their way, and how much money are they going to commit? What are their collectives like? That's all huge factors in determining whether or not this program is truly committed, whatever this program may be. I mean, I don't see Temple all of a sudden dumping a lot of money. Temple is Temple. Florida Atlantic, I can see that. I really can see that at Florida Atlantic. I thought Charlotte with Poggi and the assistant coach that he has, and they, it's not like they're going to throw in all their money, but certainly they have ways and means to get that money. They let him go so quickly. I was surprised at that one. I think South Florida Now, they had their quarterback injured most of the year, and I think that derailed them. But I think they can certainly win, although they haven't won basically since Jim Leavitt was there in their infancy of 1A, going from 1AA. It's a tough job. I mean, coaching in the American and being consistently good is a tough job. Yet in Memphis, after Justin Fuente and that first year in replacing Larry Porter got things going, it's continued. It's continued, but people, again, some people still want to change.
Florida Atlantic had the weird situation, too, of Herman had fired his defensive coordinator, I guess, last week,
Yes.
a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And then they get rid of Herman, and they bring back the defensive coordinator now. So that's one you don't see very often.
Isn't that
All right,
strange?
we got rid of that guy who didn't want you. Come on back. He's gone. We're going to have the party again.
Does that make you think that it didn't come from upstairs? That this was just truly a Tom Herman change? Because normally you would get the AD telling the head coach, listen, we got to appease the fans. We got to make a move. I'm going to give you my vote of confidence, but you have to make changes. That's exactly what happened with Norvell at Florida State. So in this case, I wonder if it was Herman just taking the bull by the horns and making the move. Because
I think a lot of those are the coach. I mean, the coaches realizes, like, I've got to do something. Like,
yeah, but I bet they have the conversation.
It's awful. Like, I got to just for my sake, I've got to do something to make it look like I realize the issues we're having and make some changes.
Oh, there's no question, but I think a lot of that comes after the conversation with the AD. Because most of the time, these coaches are friends with the head coach. And when you got to make a move to save your hide, you're going to make the move, right? But most of the time, I'm thinking about Ryan's made some changes, but a lot of times the coaches have left to go to other jobs. So you have this rapport. You're usually not going to dump a guy unless you're kind of pushed to do so. I guarantee you that was the situation with Mike Norvell at Florida State. He didn't want to make those changes, but he had to make those changes. So anyway, that was an interesting day to say the least in the American Conference yesterday. Tonight, the college football playoff rankings will be revealed for week number 3. We'll talk in just a few moments with Connor O'Gara and get his thoughts on what he expects to see. I don't see drastic changes. I'll be curious to see what they do with Boise State and where Georgia ends up being. What do you think will happen?
I think Oregon will be 1 and Ohio State will be 2, and Texas will be 3, and
Okay.
Penn State will be 4.
I think that's for sure. What else?
And Indiana will probably be 5. After that, I want to see how far they drop BYU, and if they do indeed put them behind Boise, which I would expect that they probably will. So if Boise then is ahead of both of the Big 12 or all of the Big 12 teams, that would obviously put Boise into that first round bye position in the current bracket, which means absolutely nothing. And then you have to start wondering if they went out, can one of those Big 12 teams jump them with a win in that championship game over the other?
Do you think SMU can actually jump Boise and BYU and be ahead?
I don't think this week they would be ahead of Boise all of a sudden. But again, I don't know how they'll place BYU amongst that group.
Yeah.
If they'll fall behind SMU or stay right ahead of them and just outside of that top 12, or where they'll put BYU with that loss.
See, my guess is this. They usually follow, to some degree, the AP poll. And we talked about it yesterday. The AP poll had placed, let me get this correct, BYU beat SMU, but they had SMU ahead of BYU. So I think that could very well happen. Plus, I do not believe that they want to see a group of 5 school get one of the 4 byes.
Based on what they have done with head-to-head to this point, I would think that BYU would stay ahead of SMU. But they've had others where they haven't applied that head-to-head, so it's not going to be shocking one way or another if BYU. I would expect BYU to be ahead of SMU, but if they aren't, it's not the end of the world, certainly. And then how they sort out the 4 SEC teams will be interesting. Now, what order they want to go with the Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee quartet, and figure out all of that. I would assume they will probably keep Alabama at the top of that group. I don't know. There would be no reason necessarily to drop them unless, because of Georgia's win over Tennessee, you want to drop Georgia, or you want to jump Georgia to the top of that group. But I have no idea which way they'll go.
Well, we'll get the thoughts of Connor O'Gara coming up after this timeout, find out what he has to say about it. Again, right now, all speculation. We'll find out tonight exactly what the committee is thinking. A little bit later on, we'll get back to some Tigers football news, including a surprising opening line for their game against Tulane. We'll do that a little bit later on, but as I mentioned, Connor is next. Do want to tell you folks about Shoot 360 Memphis. Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. It's a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification, provides instant objective feedback with hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. Again, you got the holidays coming up. You're looking for a out-of-the-box gift for your basketball-playing son or daughter, grandson, granddaughter, whatever the case may be, this makes sense for them. Monthly memberships now available, so you're not bogged down with a long-term, 1 year, 2 year, whatever the deal is, contract. You can go month to month. Why not get them a few months of a membership and see how much they like it? I guarantee you they'll fall in love with it. It's easy to register. All you have to do is go online to Shoot 360 Memphis or give them a call, get more information, ask them to give you a tour of either of the facilities or even both of the facilities, because you can become a member at both. Shoot 360 Memphis in Cordova, the number is 901-779-3176. In Collierville, 901-316-5500. You've never seen anything like this. The basketball technology that they use, the one-on-one expert coaching with some of the best coaches in the game. And, of course, that instant objective feedback. You get that when you're shooting, your arc, your success rate, it's right there. You're watching it as you're going ahead and shooting the basketball. Also, for passing, to become a better passer, there's all types of things that include gamification. In other words, you're playing games. This is great for little kids to learn how to bounce past the ball, chest pass the ball. Just so many cool things that they're doing at Shoot 360 Memphis. Don't take my word for it. Go see it yourself and let me know what you think. The future of basketball training is here at Shoot 360 Memphis. When we come back, Connor O'Gara. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
The 2025 Range Rover Sport sits right at the heart of the Land Rover lineup, offering a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility. Smaller and more agile than a full-size Range Rover, it's a great option for everyone who wants luxury and practicality. Every model comes with 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive standard. Whether you navigate city streets or tackle rough terrain, Range Rover Sport has you covered. Every drive is powerful and breathtaking. The 2025 Range Rover Sport is the epitome of sporty luxury. Test drive one in Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City.
Getaway Sports One, the best hits secret in town. Open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garden created this SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Come up on 6 pool tables. Hold the spirit in town. We'll still get you some more ball. Chicken tenders. Daily happy hour Monday through Friday, 10 to 6 p.m. Call Megan 1625. Getaway Sports One, 4632 Winchester.
The holidays are near, and Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Generators is here to make this season extra cozy and cheerful. For the first 50 customers who purchase a new Carrier System, tankless water heater, or a whole home generator, we have a special gift for you. Choose from a $500 gift card or 60 months no interest financing. And don't forget about Choate's Refer a Friend referral program, where you can earn up to $500. Simply refer a friend to use our services, and if they become a customer, you can earn up to a $500 Visa gift card. But hurry, this festive offer will only last through December 20th. Visit ChoatesHVAC.com or call 347-8086 to schedule your free estimate today. And turn to the experts with Choates and let our family serve your family this holiday season.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Give yourself a little bit of extra time out here just to be on the safe side. Trying to clear up the paperwork on that wreck out in Fayette County. Happened earlier on 40 westbound at the 42-mile marker as it builds on Bill Morris Parkway 385 coming inbound there at Riverdale all the way until you get on that ramp there to 240. Shop now and save during this holiday season. Where? Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings. Good morning. On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back. 7:27 the time. Love this tune. Love that song. Welcome back to Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers with you on this Tuesday morning. Time now to talk some college football with Connor O'Gara.
It's time to talk some SEC and college football. Joining Greg and Eli is Connor O'Gara from SaturdayDownSouth.com and SaturdayTradition.com. Here's Connor O'Gara with Greg and Eli.
He is the senior national columnist for Saturday Down South, also the host of the Saturday Down South podcast. He is our good buddy Connor O'Gara, who joins us every other Tuesday to talk college football. You can follow him on Twitter at CJ O'Gara. Hey, Connor.
Gentlemen, hope you're doing well. You know, Greg, can I hit on something that you just brought up there?
Sure.
Look, people don't talk about Southern Voice as one of Tim McGraw's hits because it's mostly known for being in The Blind Side, which is one of the better SEC football-related movies that's ever been made. I don't know how long that list is, but people need to talk more about how good that song is because I feel like I never hear it on the radio or anything like that, but it always just kind of puts you in a better mood. So I think you're spot on with that take.
I didn't know. I've seen that movie a couple times. I didn't know that song was in that movie. I just loved the song. And so I have it on my, my iPod there or whatever, my phone. I'm listening to it when I'm working out at the gym. It's well written.
It is well written. I think it's at the end of that movie, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's the closing credits of The Blind Side, which I don't know if you can watch that with the same sort of innocence that we once did after the way that things have gone. But just when you get to the end credits, you'll have a smile on your face.
All right, so recently, and I'm not sure how many days ago it was, your buddy, Feinbaum, started to say things like the SEC was being overlooked. Basically, I'm paraphrasing here, that they weren't getting the respect they deserve in the rankings. What is that all about?
I don't like how you said that. Feinbaum. Like, it's goodness gracious.
Hey, he's a Memphian. He's from here. No, I'm kidding around. But, I mean, I'm saying it that way because, I don't want to say he's a show for the SEC. He's great at what he does. He's carved out a nice little career for him. But it's almost like calling the kettle black. I mean, what are you talking about?
Yeah, Paul criticizes everyone these days. He's very, very critical of SEC teams. It just depends where you listen and say these things. I think that there is a case to be made that there are certain SEC teams that are not getting enough respect. I think seeing Georgia fall 9 spots after the Ole Miss loss when Miami doesn't fall 9 spots and instead falls, 5 spots in the college football playoff poll after losing to Georgia Tech when, yes, that's the Georgia Tech loss is not as bad as the Ole Miss loss, but Miami doesn't have those quality wins. And now their best win, Louisville, that team just fell out of the top 25. And what is that going to look like moving forward? I think that once you kind of get into it and realize, like, all right, well, Notre Dame. What makes Notre Dame's resume so much better than even two-loss SEC teams? I think there is an argument to be made, but having said that, I don't necessarily think that it's that egregious to have some of these teams ranked ahead of the two-loss SEC teams, right? I don't think it's egregious to say, in my unbiased opinion, that Indiana, as an undefeated team, should be ranked ahead of some of these two-loss teams in the SEC. If they get blown out by Ohio State, that won't be the case. But until then, it's kind of like, all right, well, you know what? They do have a very similar resume even to Texas and Penn State when you look at their quality wins. So there's kind of a mess right now, really 3 through about 11, and it seems, well, 3 through 12, actually, because that's kind of where I'd include Boise State. But it looks like a total mess, and that's probably why there's a lot of discrepancy about how the SEC is being treated.
What order do you expect to see the group of the two-loss teams with Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee? What order would you expect them to be in tonight?
Alabama at 8, Ole Miss at 9, Georgia at 10, and then Tennessee at 11. And here's the thing. I know what you're thinking, Tennessee fans. Why in the world would you have Alabama ahead of Tennessee? They played a football game. Okay, do that logic for everybody else because it doesn't hold up. You just want to do that logic for your own team and nobody else, because then what are we saying? Shouldn't Alabama be ahead of Georgia as well? Alabama and Georgia, they played. Shouldn't Ole Miss be ahead of Georgia? They played and had a very decisive result. The problem for Tennessee with that head-to-head argument is with those teams clustered right there, you can't apply the head-to-head logic everywhere. There's no clean way to do it. And so what's the selection committee going to default to? Quality win. Tennessee's only win over a team that's currently bowl eligible is that Alabama win. That's the problem. And Georgia, meanwhile, yes, is sitting there with 2 losses, but we saw them just wax Tennessee. And they have 3 wins against teams that are in the current, I expect to be in the CFP top 25 because Clemson will be in there as well. And then Ole Miss, the way that it dominated that game against Georgia, yeah, they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. Alabama, same sort of deal. Alabama has a lot of these quality wins, even though 2 of their wins that they had were against teams that just fell out of the AP top 25. So, yeah, I mean, they're going to default to resume more so than head-to-head probably. It's still a factor, but unfortunately for Tennessee fans, it's not the factor because you can't apply it everywhere and have clean ranks.
Do you believe that Greg Sankey has sent 2 guys in pinstripe 3-piece suits to the committee and they're standing outside the door?
Well, wait. I must be missing something. Where is that conversation coming from?
You know, he has a little bit of power. He's got some people that have a little muscle. I'm
Look.
just wondering how they are going to look at the SEC beating up on each other, knowing that they play an incredibly tough conference schedule compared to every other conference, and how they gauge it against these other power conferences when those teams would have 1 loss against those 2 losses, even 3 losses for some of these SEC schools. So I think maybe there's a little concern to make sure that, they know who's outside the door.
I'd be far more concerned about the guy who's inside the door, and that's Ward Manuel, who clearly is propping up Texas for that win that he had for the win that Texas had against Michigan, for Indiana beating Michigan, not covering the spread, kind of struggling and playing probably their worst game of the year, and then all of a sudden Indiana moves past Tennessee before, and moves all the way up to number 5 just for that win against the Michigan team that's 5-5. I think that's far more concerning than anything Greg Sankey's got outside the door. It's baffling why that we allow this to happen. That we allow people that have an active role in college athletics to be in that room. All of a sudden, we're going to have, Ohio State's going to beat Michigan, and Ward Manuel's probably going to be sitting there banging the drum like, yeah, I guess you just got to put Ohio State number 1 ahead of Oregon. We're like, they played. Oregon beat them, and Oregon's undefeated. What are you talking about? The fact that we allow this to happen is why people like Greg Sankey are banging the drum, and Tony Petitti as well, for the selection committee to be no longer. And why they want these automatic bids is because you take some of that randomness off the table. And it doesn't – I mean, Kirby Smart himself is like, I don't know what the selection committee is looking for anymore, so that after they beat Tennessee. And I think there is a true head-scratching nature this year to what the selection committee actually wants, especially when you consider that Texas and Penn State are basically just being told, we don't really care about your resume, we just think that you're really good. That's what this comes down to. So, yeah, I mean, I think the people inside the building are a little bit more concerning.
Do you think BYU was behind Boise tonight?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. Look, I don't want to get into the phantom hold of the Utah game. I'm a sicko, and I was watching that at 2:30 in the morning when that happened. But I was also watching when they, were a very odd, slight favorite against Kansas, and then Kansas wins that game. Vegas knew something about that one, and the way that played out. Yeah, I think that they're going to fall out, and I think that they're going to be in a position where they're looking up and going, "We got to win the Big 12. This is going to be our only way in." We knew that our margin for error was going to be slim based on what the selection committee has said. Now, is that totally fair? You can debate that, but Boise State is sitting there with 2 wins against teams that are currently in the AP top 25 because UNLV and Washington State are kind of hanging on there, and the fact that they played so unbelievably close in that game in Eugene early in the season, and they looked like a really similar team to who they've been the rest of the year. I think that Boise State will get the benefit of the doubt. Nice little win at San Jose State, a 6-win San Jose State team, and they kind of pulled away late and show that they, in my opinion, are the cream of the crop when it comes to the group of 5.
Yeah, they were down 14-0 and came back and doubled them up in the end. So I'm with you. I just really worry about the committee not wanting to have that group of 5 with a first-round bye. I wonder if, all of a sudden, you'll see SMU jump ahead tonight. Just things like that. I'm not going to – look, Jerry Palm gets mad every week when he comes on with us because I say these kind of things. But I do believe in conspiracy theories. I do. I don't think they wanted – the first year of the 12-team playoff, here we go, Boise State rocking the boat.
I think there's something to be said for that, but there's only so much they can do to prevent that, right?
Right.
I think they've shown Boise State a lot of respect, to be honest with you. Considering – they don't have that big-time splashy marquee win. It's not like they beat Oregon. They played down to the wire with them, played really competitively, but they're getting the benefit of the doubt when their best win is against UNLV. Their best win, Washington State's a good team, but Washington State is, not necessarily a team that we would be expecting to contend for a playoff spot. So, yeah, look, I think they've given Boise State plenty of respect coming from the Mountain West when – if they were doing this in the AAC, I think it would be getting even more love. But, yeah, for my money, I think Boise State is still going to get the benefit of the doubt. They'll be in a really nice position if they can win out.
The Indiana-Ohio State game, what do you expect to happen, first of all?
There's a strong part of me that says, oh, boy, Indiana's about to lose this game by 4 touchdowns, aren't they? There's a strong part of me that thinks even with everything that has happened this year, the unlimited moments in which I've said, you can't convince me this is Indiana football that's having this season. There are so many times. I mean, even going back to when they won by, 21 at Northwestern's makeshift stadium right on the lake there. Mm-hmm. Even that day was an, oh, my goodness, I can't believe they won this game going away on the road. Now, I think that there is a strong possibility that this Indiana team is up for the fight, and they recognize the opportunity at hand, and they come out, ready to throw some punches, and they give Ohio State a true game. I'm not going to rule that out. I'd never rule that out with Curt Cignetti and what he's done with this team. But there's also a part of me that could just see the entire college football world throwing the F word around with Indiana, and fraud is a bad thing to have associated with your program this late into the season. Well, we know the resume. The resume isn't particularly good. It's just not. Let's call it what it is. They lack those quality wins, and if you get exposed like this, it's different if you're a team that's been in a college football playoff before. But when you're Indiana and you've got the most losses of any power conference team in this sport, yes, there's confirmation bias that goes with this, and that's what they're fighting on Saturday.
So let's say they just lose by the spread, 2 touchdowns. How far do you think they'll slide Indiana down because of that?
It depends. Game flow is going to be really important. Is it Ohio State gets a lead early and then Indiana never has a chance whatsoever? Ohio State controls the game and then they're down 21 and they score a touchdown with 2 minutes left to make it a 14-point game. Not all 14-point losses are created equally. So I think there's some nuance in that, and I do think it's going to be. You're going to have a feel of how much of a chance Indiana actually has, and I think that's going to be really important to the selection committee. I think they'll be super dialed into how competitive it feels. Is it 3 and out? Do they only score because they get a block punt or something weird to be able to stay in the game or something like that? But if that happens, then I don't think they'll fall that far. I think the selection committee is looking for the you don't belong on the field with this team. Because if the selection committee puts Indiana into the field, that's very likely the type of scenario that they will be dialing up. If Indiana's, going to play a road playoff game, as the number 9 or number 10 team in the country, that's the type of team that they would potentially have to match up against. So I think that they'll be watching it extremely closely. And if you're Indiana, man, just hold on for dear life if it's a game that feels like it's getting away early, because you just cannot afford to put your head down and feel sorry for yourself.
It's interesting. You got Penn State with the one loss to Ohio State, and they're ahead of Indiana, who's unbeaten, right?
Don't get me started, Greg. Don't get me started
Okay.
on that, man.
But think about this. Think about this. If Indiana goes toe-to-toe with Ohio State and loses, they have to look at that and go, you know what? They played Ohio State tougher than Penn State, and then all of a sudden now Indiana with a loss, instead of being unbeaten, could and should vault Penn State if you are looking at it with open eyes and not prejudice, right?
From your lips to God's ears. True. Very, very true. Here, I'll do you another one, okay? Because I don't want to go on the Penn State rant that I've been on just too many times. And I don't need to see Penn State play Ohio State in a Big Ten championship or in college football playoff. I just miss me with that matchup altogether. Here's a crazy thought. Indiana, if it beats Ohio State in Columbus, is Indiana the number 1 team in the country? Is Indiana the number 1 team in the country? Because for my money, that's a better win than Oregon being able to beat them in Eugene. To go into that building and go into the Horseshoe and win there and be an undefeated team, to me, that takes their resume to a different place. And you would have to really consider Indiana's the number 1 team in college football going into the last week of the regular season. And that is a sentence I never thought I would say as long as I had breath on this earth.
That's a really interesting point.
And then the question would be, how far would they drop Ohio State out of that? Comparing them to the 2-loss SEC teams, where does Ohio State fit in with that group?
Yeah, I think they would still probably be near the top as the top 2-loss team, just because the win against Penn State, the win at Penn State is still going to be considered really, really impressive. But you're kind of right. Then you're kind of looking around going, oh, yeah, they didn't play anybody in non-conference play. And, oh, yeah, they kind of had a dogfight against Nebraska. And they don't have as deep of a resume as Alabama, in my opinion, just in terms of the quality wins. But the selection committee has continued to give them the benefit of the doubt as the top-ranked 1-loss team. And I think that they would look at potentially losing to Indiana as, okay, well, you know what, you lost to 2 teams that we're debating if they're number 1 in the country. So they would probably instead default to making Ohio State the top-ranked 2-loss team.
Yeah, there's still a scenario, or a couple of scenarios would have to happen, but that the Big Ten could produce the top 4 teams when the final rankings come out. I mean, it's still still a shot to happen.
If Indiana wins, how will you celebrate?
Look, I'll be honest. I love seeing great things happen in my school, and I'm trying to be super unbiased about this, because otherwise, what's the point of listening to anything I have to say? And I'm trying to be really objective and practical about this. But I'm gonna be smiling ear to ear if that happens on Saturday, guys. Like I will have such great pride. I'll be texting with my aunt who graduated from Indiana in the early '80s. I'll be texting with my cousin who's a senior there now. And I'll be enjoying it, because it'll be surreal in every possible way if that happens. I don't expect that to happen. So the sheer surprise of it alone would be worth everything right now for this program, and it would be awesome. I'd be fielding texts all day from everybody. I had somebody yesterday text me, I didn't realize Indiana was in the top 5 in college football. I thought it was basketball ranked. Then I had to check it. I'm like, totally understand. I don't blame you one bit.
All right, two final things real quick. I know it's not a great schedule in the SEC this weekend, although some very important games. Who's on upset alert?
A&M's on upset alert. That spread, I think, is 1 or 2 points at Auburn. And I realize that the Jordan-Hare magic has been gone this year, but A&M, is just a little bit of a question mark when it comes to playing on the road. And I think there are some people that are pointing to what they did the last time they traveled for a road game at South Carolina and going, man, I don't know. Like they've been a little bit all over the place. Mike Elko's still in the SEC Coach of the Year discussion, but keep an eye on that one. If Auburn plays like it has nothing to lose, and that's just a kind of a scary scenario for a team that, look, if they don't turn the ball over, they're a much better football team, but that's a huge, huge if.
And how about we've been talking about the situation right now with the SEC and the Big Ten controlling a lot of spots, it looks like, for the first ever 12-team playoff, and probably the Big 12 and the ACC getting only one. What about in the future? And I know the SEC and the Big Ten would hate this. The winner and the runner-up in the conference championship gets a spot. You move it to 14-team playoff. That puts 8 in from the Power 4. You get 1 from the Group of 5. That's 9, and then you have 5 at large. Why not that? Wouldn't that make things easier?
There are going to be years in which the Big 12 and the ACC are one-bid leagues. That's the problem. That's the problem of, okay, if you get to the conference championship and you're sitting there with 3 losses, because you had a 2-loss season in conference play, you went 6-2 or 7-2 in conference play, and then you lost your marquee non-conference game. You're sitting there with 3 losses already, and then you lose a conference championship game, and all of a sudden you have 4 losses and you're a Big 12 team. You're like, wait a minute, what? That team is getting into the playoff instead of some of these others. So I don't think that the SEC and Big Ten would ever go for that. I do think the Big Ten and SEC are sitting there very likely looking at automatic bids for making the conference championship. And I'll be interested. This is what I'm fascinated. This is the one thing I don't want to see, guys. I'll leave you on this. What I don't want to see is a team that the selection committee would have had in going into the conference championship weekend, play in a conference championship game, lose that game, and then fall out of the 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
That, to me, would totally throw a wrench in all of their plans and incentivizing the conference championship. And Lane Kiffin's quote about how there are teams that are really scared about that, to me, that would hold a lot of truth in that. And I just don't want to see the selection committee make that decision.
Yeah, that's worrying me, and it's worrying a lot of people, and I think Lane was right on with those comments he made. He's Connor O'Gara. He's the senior national columnist for Saturday Down South, the host of the Saturday Down South podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at CJ O'Gara. Listen to him every other Tuesday right here talking college football with us on Sports 56 Mornings. Thank you, Connor. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks. There'll be a lot to talk about.
Gentlemen, appreciate it.
Take care. All right, we'll take a timeout. Come back, wrap up Hour 1. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You know the great thing about having an event catered by Central Barbecue?
What was that?
They turn any event into a cookout.
You stole that directly from their website.
Well, I didn't expect you to have looked at their website.
I've got events coming up. It's the holiday season, and there's no better way to make things easier than to have Central Barbecue cater it.
They have everything. Box lunches, meat platters, nacho bar kits.
And half and full sheet pans of their traditional barbecue sides. I'm looking at the website right now. You're quoting it verbatim.
Not exactly verbatim.
Word for word. This is a new level of lazy even by your standards.
That doesn't make it any less true. You can't beat Central Barbecue Catering.
It's just plagiarism.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixers. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
I got a line.
He got a line.
She got a line. We got 4 lines. Cricket Nation. Q finger guns. Really easy. Super stress-free. 5G so fast like blazing fast. Games and memes. You'll have a blast. You can get fast 5G across 4 lines. You can get fast 5G across 4 lines. As we discuss, take it from us. We 4-1 Cricket Nation.
And only $25 a line. Welcome to more lines. Welcome to Cricket Nation. Smile. You're on Cricket.
Cricket 5G requires compatible devices. Not available everywhere. Discount varies by line. Fees may apply. Terms and restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Family Leisure needs your help. Family Leisure has inventory they've got to move because you know what season is coming up. So why wait? You can complete your ultimate game room with a new pool table, a new shuffleboard, new arcade games, or just get all of them. Tons and tons of theater seating, overstocked and priced to move. 'Tis the season for fire pits, and all fire pits at Family Leisure are 20 to 30% off. You say you didn't get a spa this year? Well, say no more. Spas are in stock and they're ready for delivery and up to $1,500 off. These are just a few of the deals happening right now for a very limited time. So come on, check out their gigantic showroom. You never know what kind of deal you're going to find at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Sports 56 mornings.
Good morning.
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Seth Hennigan named the American Conference Player of the Week after a 4-touchdown, 299-yard performance in the Tigers' win over UAB Saturday night. Seth now at an even 100 career touchdown passes. He's one of only 3 active quarterbacks who have 100 or more touchdowns. Mr. Elijah Seegers, putting you on the spot here. Can you name the other 2 active quarterbacks who have 100 or more touchdowns?
Well, I know Dylan Gabriel is one because he broke the FBS record.
Right, and he's played 20 years.
Other one.
Used to be in the SEC.
SEC?
Used to be in the SEC.
Within the last 5 years?
Oh, yeah. It was a couple years ago, right, Eli? You know who it is, right?
I'm not sure who it is. But what is it? They went the top 100?
Yeah. Seth is one of 3 current quarterbacks with 100 or more touchdown passes, which is incredible when you think about that. Dylan Gabriel's the one.
Oh, man, I'm blanking.
He went out west, too, like Gabriel did.
Oh, I know who it is. Will Rogers.
Will Rogers. Oh. That shocked me. I was like, Will Rogers got 100 touchdown passes? He does. So there you go. Little trivia. So congratulations to Seth Hennigan. The Tigers, the early line, and I'm not sure which outlet had this line, but I saw Jonah Dillon tweeted out from the Commercial Appeal. Memphis is a 14.5-point underdog at Tulane. Week from Thursday, Thanksgiving.
That's a lot.
I figured 7 to 10, 14.5.
That's a lot.
Well, when you consider a couple things. One, Memphis has struggled in New Orleans against Tulane. Memphis not the same team on the road, we know that, but last year they didn't lose, I don't believe, on the road, Memphis. Tulane is red hot. I mean, they're absolutely red hot. We talked about them yesterday. They found a young quarterback to replace Michael Pratt. John Sumrall's walked right in to replace Willie Fritz. I knew they made a great hire when they got Sumrall. I mean, he is a really good coach. But Memphis will try to pull the big upset next week. We'll see if people sing a different tune if they win. But this would be one that would be real nice on the resume of Silverfield. Although, again, in the long run, it doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot because you're not going to get into the conference championship. It does mean a lot when you throw in the fact that it'll be 10 wins, and that'll be the first time in history of the Memphis football program that they'll go back-to-back years of winning 10 games with a chance to win the bowl game and win 11. But can't put the cart before the horse. That is going to be a big challenge next Thursday.
It's, obviously they're Tulane playing extremely well. Now, they don't. I mean, I guess they will have something to play for because I guess theoretically in their mind they're thinking, well, what if Boise loses a game?
Right.
We could still sneak in and steal that spot. So they still have to play it as we need to win every game and then hope for a Boise loss and be that group of 5 representative. So there is still something for them on the line, even though they already know they're in the conference championship game. And if Boise doesn't lose, they know they're not going to the playoff. There is that possibility, I guess, of Boise stumbling and then the American Conference champion getting that, which would be interesting if Boise weren't. Let's see, what's Boise have in the rest of the regular season? They've got, Oregon State?
I believe they have Oregon State, yeah.
And do they have another game? Do they have 2 games left in the regular season?
Let me find it.
That if they lost to Oregon State, which would be a bad loss, but then won that championship game, how they would compare to a 2-loss Tulane team as an American Conference champion. I wonder how much they would penalize Boise for a loss in an Oregon State. They would have lost the state of Oregon then if they lost the Oregon State game.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I don't know if they have another game
There we
remaining
go.
or not.
Boise's got, what is the date? They have at Wyoming this weekend, and then they have Oregon State on the 30th.
Yes, either one of those losses would be a bad loss. So with the way Tulane is playing, probably either one of those Tulane jumps in them.
What about Army? What about if Army upsets Notre Dame, which I don't think is going to happen. But could you imagine Army? Now, Notre Dame figured out Navy. I mean, they turned him over. Horvath wasn't the same guy that certainly played against Memphis. And Notre Dame, a little bit more formidable defense. Now Army, similar offense. Army, I always thought throughout the season that Army was better than Navy. And we'll see in the Army-Navy game. You won't see in the conference championship because it'll be Tulane and Army. But what about Army pulling an upset against Notre Dame? That would be something.
Yeah, then they would have a real decision to have to make where you put Army in that mix. If they were to pull that, I mean, that would easily be the best win by a mile and a half of the group of 5 teams. So, yeah, that would be very interesting how they would place them if they were able to pull that one off. But, yeah, I don't expect that to happen.
I don't either.
The thing with Boise State, too, like if they were to lose one of the games again, they probably won't. But if they end up playing Colorado State in that Mountain West championship game, that's not nearly as good a win as they would get if they get to play UNLV. But Colorado State right now is the team they're on path to play because Colorado State hasn't lost that conference game, which is weird, again, that you get those type of things. But then, yeah, for anybody in the American, you'd love for Colorado State to win the Mountain West Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're ahead of them. Then the American Conference champion is definitely going over the Mountain West champion. But I don't know that Colorado State has the ability to beat Boise State, that's for sure. Folks, if you've got a move coming up, you want to make sure you get the professionals, the experts to help you, to do that for you. You need to talk to the folks at Black Tie Moving, 901-316-6196, or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis. Talk to the folks at Black Tie. They work with you to come up with that plan for your move that fits both your needs and your budget as well. And they will give you a no-obligation quote up front. The best in the business. They've got A-plus ratings everywhere online, A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. People that use them rave about them. They absolutely love the experience they have with Black Tie Moving, and you will as well. So don't try and do that all yourself. It's just way too much work, way too much stress. You don't need that. Get the professionals. Black Tie Moving, 901-316-6196 or blacktiemoving.com/Memphis.
All right, when we come back, we'll open up hour number 2 with Humdinger's Trivia. We got college basketball to get into. We'll talk about last night's Monday night football game. The Grizzlies back in action tonight against the Denver Nuggets. And then at 8:25, Dane Bradshaw will join us to talk about the legacy of Terry Tippett. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Indulge yourself or your loved ones this season with a trip to Sissy's Log Cabin. Here, you can shop our expansive selection of designer brands, one-of-a-kind jewelry, and spectacular statement pieces, all while enjoying the Sissy's promise of unmatched quality, service, and brilliant natural diamonds. Stop by any location or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com to find your trusted jeweler for holiday memories that will last a lifetime. Make a statement this season only at Sissy's Log Cabin.
You want breakfast. You really want some breakfast, but you don't want to make breakfast. You really don't want to make breakfast. Making breakfast is a pain. How are you going to cook the bacon? Bake it, fry it, microwave it. Then how about your eggs? Fried, poached, then you'll want some bread. Want to mess with whipping up a batch of biscuits? Of course not. That's a lot of dishes. That's what Sunrise is for. Sunrise on Jefferson and Sunrise East on Poplar will make you the best breakfast you've ever had, and you don't have to lift anything but a fork. Just go to either Sunrise location and let them do the work. Oh, and if you don't feel like making a burger for lunch, go to Sunrise.
What happens when former real estate agents want to sell their homes? This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Penn Store Realtors. I am so proud and feel so honored when former real estate agents contact me when they want to sell their homes or someone has called them asking whom they should use. They know that I've been in the business for quite a while, have a great deal of experience, and know that I'm good at marketing and I'm
part of a nationwide relocation network. Over the years, I've developed a highly successful strategic marketing program that can make the difference in what you make and when. Thinking of selling? Talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers, but make sure I'm one of them. Remember what people often say that when you want the job done, call Shell Done. So if you or somebody you know is thinking of selling, remember what other former real estate agents do. They call me at 483-0546 or email me at memphisrelocate.com. That's Shell Done Rosengarten at memphisrelocate.com or 483-0546.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. I'm looking at what appears to be a 5-car accident. I wouldn't be surprised if the injuries involved in this crash eastbound. That's going outbound on 385 Billmores Parkway here at Winchester. Again, there is some rubbernecking going on in the westbound lanes, but what a nasty-looking wreck here on Billmores Parkway going eastbound. Again, at least 5 cars are involved in this, and they're scattered, so that means this is going to be here for a while on Billmores Parkway at Winchester on this crash. Hey, shop now and save during the holiday season at Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden. Weekdays from 11 to 1.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:03 the time. Welcome in. If you're just tuning in to our Tuesday extravaganza, Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Siggers, a little thing we call Sports 56 Mornings on this Tuesday, November 19th, 2024, broadcasting live from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 56 degrees. We got some sunshine, but some clouds rolling in as well. So a little mixture today. Temperature, though, will get up to about 70 degrees. Will be cool overnight with a 50-degree low. Then tomorrow, sunshine with a high of only 60 degrees. Second hour of the program is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. I'll give you a little more information on them as we get closer to the holidays. You're going to want to check out James Gaddis Jewelers. But it is Tuesday. It's time for Humdinger's Trivia.
That's right. And, of course, if it's Tuesday, it also means it's Taco Tuesday over at Humdinger's with their chicken and fish tacos, just $2 each. That's every Tuesday that you could take advantage of that amazing deal over at Humdinger. But every day you could take advantage of their amazing menu, enjoy some of their great appetizers or their sandwiches or one of those great entrees, any one of the many grilled fish options that they have for you. With the great toppings that you could put on top of that fish as well. They got the great sides that you can enjoy. All kinds of great things on the menu over at Humdinger's. Humdinger'sRestaurant.com. That's the website where you can check out the entire menu. You can also get information on the website about catering. Check out catering menus, things like that. It's a great option for catering any event that you have. You can also order online at Humdinger'sRestaurant.com. Of course, you can find them over at Poplar and Massey. Go by and check them out again today, being Taco Tuesday or any day for some of that great food over at Humdinger's. If you are the first to answer our trivia question correctly, well, then you'll win a $25 gift certificate to Humdinger's. You can answer via text at 901-360-8255, 901-360-8255. That's the number. Text in those answers, and that first correct answer will get the gift certificate. Here is today's question. Last night, the Dallas Cowboys lost again at home. They are 0-5 this season at home after losing the playoff game last year to end the season at home as well, which ended a 16-game home winning streak, which weirdly enough, that's very, very strange. But they're 0-5 at home this season. There are two franchises in the NFL that hold the record for the longest home losing streaks. The longest home losing streak in NFL history. Which two franchises are tied for that record? Text in at 360-8255, 360-8255. Which two franchises hold the record for the longest home losing streak in NFL history?
Speaking of NFL, Monday Night Football last night, wrapping up Week 11. Your Cowboys get throttled by the Texans 34-10 as the Texans improve to 7-4. The Cowboys, Dakless, dropped to 3-7. Joe Mixon had 3 touchdowns for the Texans. Derek Barnett had a scoop and score in the fourth to kind of seal the deal for the Texans. The Cowboys' offensive line, and Zach Martin got hurt. The offensive line cannot block for the running backs, whether it be Dowdle or Zeke came in late. I mean, they're already in the backfield by the time the ball is handed off. Awful. Cooper Rush, he's not great. Threw a couple of good passes, but not great. It wasn't a great game for Stroud, to be honest with you, but Joe Mixon was running like a 20-year-old. I mean, he's really good, and the Texans are a pretty solid football team. The Cowboys are a mess.
Yeah, they're terrible. Cowboys are terrible. And it's not getting better. It still amazes me. This was the all-in season for Jerry, and this is what he puts out there on a weekly basis. They did not address any of their needs in the offseason. They still can't stop the run to save their life. They can't run it. Cooper Rush doing whatever he can. It is what it is. Like, he's your backup quarterback. He's fine, but he's not very good. They get constantly have miscommunication defensively, seemingly, where they leave guys wide open. It's such a sad state of affairs. They're 5 home games this year. 44-19, 47-9, 34-6, 34-10, and then a 28-25 loss, but they were down 28-6 going to the fourth quarter of that game and just happened to rally in the fourth quarter. They're not even competitive on their home field. They get blown out constantly on their home field. Last night I think there might have been more Texans fans there than Cowboys fans. It was, it's just horrendous. You got the building falling apart before the game, which
gosh, that could have fallen on somebody.
Yeah, no, it's obviously very dangerous. That's a big piece of metal that came down there, and it just made me laugh because just last week with the whole sun in CeeDee Lamb's eyes and everything, and he complains about they should put up curtains, and Jerry's immediate response is, why don't we just tear the place down and rebuild it? Well, you don't have to tear it down. It's falling apart. You might have to just you might have to rebuild it anyway because the place is actually falling apart now. There's
no way you can keep McCarthy, right?
Well, no. McCarthy's contract's expiring, so that's easy. That's an easy
So
out.
just let him finish up. A horrible year.
It's just... Yeah, it's just, again, the man in the offseason said that they're all in for this season, and this is their all-in year. They get blown out every time they play a home game. They are not competitive whatsoever.
And you can only blame injuries so much. Injuries have been a part, but they were bad before Dak got hurt.
Exactly. They were losing with Dak or getting blown out at home with Dak. So that's I don't like Cooper Rush, whatever. It is what it is. Yeah, it's absolutely pathetic defensively once again. They get lucky on the first play of the game. They should have given up a 77-yard touchdown on the first play of the game if Laramie Tunsil doesn't go downfield.
Well, that's my luck because I had Nico Collins for a touchdown. So
really, it's sad, but the only reason I watch the Cowboys now is I want Brandon Aubrey to break the field goal record. And they just got to get in position for him to do it. Like he's got to get to a point where they can attempt a 67 or 68 yard field goal, and he'll do it, and he'll make it, and he'll break that record. That's literally the only reason. He's the most exciting part of the team.
The kicker.
Didn't he
kick a 64-yarder last night that came off the board because of a penalty against Houston? It didn't even seem like he put an effort into it.
No, he never does. He never looks like he kicks the ball hard. That's the thing. Like, he is obviously he missed the one early, which is crazy that he finally missed but his foot slipped, and so he missed. And he still almost made it, but first one he's ever missed in that stadium at home. And he's now. I don't know if that was counting the 64-year-old yarder before it took up, but he was I don't think it was. He's what they say, 20 of 21 or 21 of 22 in his career from over 50 yards. I mean, the dude's amazing. He is absolutely automatic, and I believe he can make a 70-yard field goal if given that opportunity, if it ever works out at the end of the half or whatever, where they could attempt a 70-yarder. Again, that's literally, I hope for that's what I'm hoping for. Like, please get to a position where Brandon Aubrey can attempt a 70-yard field goal just because I want to see him do it.
That is sad. Did you see the tweet from our buddy Todd Furman? He said something to the effect of the Cowboys, the only team that could give up 2 touchdowns on one drive. Because they had the Collins touchdown.
2 long touchdowns.
Two long touchdowns. He may have said long touchdowns.
It's just, it's. And the thing is, they're on.
You're at a loss for words. Aren't
they're
you?
on. They got the Thanksgiving Day game coming up.
Who do they play? Who do they play
got
Thanksgiving?
A Monday night game. They got 2 Monday night games, and one of them they can't flex because there's some other alternate Simpsons thing or something, so they can't take them off that national TV for that one. The other one, I don't know if they will or not. But they're in like a lot of these prime spots.
Of course they are. They're the stupid Cowboys for some reason. America's team. They haven't won forever. Who's their opponent on Thanksgiving?
That'll be the Giants. That'll be.
That should be a great game.
That'll be Cooper Rush versus Tommy DeVito. I mean,
get your tickets
if
down.
that doesn't make you think Thanksgiving Day football, that's good stuff right there. I mean, it's just the Rush DeVito. I mean, hey, good. Just
it's kind of like
enjoy your turkey and watch some fantastic NFL action.
It's a tradition like Stanford and Syracuse when they get together in the ACC.
I don't even know which time slot they got for Thanksgiving. Let's see what. Hopefully they're perfectly in nap time.
Well, we know the Lions will be playing.
Yeah, they're the 3:30 game. So, yeah, you can eat and then perfect nap time right there in the middle of the afternoon while the Giants and Cowboys have a pillow fight.
By the way,
with 2 horrendous quarterbacks.
Off the topic just a bit, but we were talking about kickers.
If only Ben DiNucci was still with the Cowboys, if we could get DeVito versus DiNucci, I mean, that would be true.
That's an Italian Super Bowl right there.
That would be actually, the thing is, it might not even be Cooper Rush versus Tommy DeVito. It might be Trey Lance versus Tommy DeVito.
If Lance couldn't get in last night, I don't know if we'll ever.
That was the one. Mike McCarthy after the game said his one regret, last night was he didn't get Trey Lance in the game. That's the regret from that game.
My one regret that the thing didn't fall on me.
It wasn't the fake punt. It wasn't the 4th down call. It wasn't anything else. It was the fact that you didn't get Trey Lance in the game. That's the regret.
So, can we stop now with the announcers' jinx? Blaming the announcers for missed kicks, blaming the announcers for missed free throws. You have to say it. You have to say it. If you got stats like that, you have to say it. Stop it. It's not an announcer's jinx. How about the 9 out of 10 times that they make the field goal when the announcer says it, or make the free throw? Stop with the announcer's jinx. It's over. Done. It's run its course.
Well, I mean, but I don't think anybody actually literally thinks they're missed it because of it.
Oh,
come on.
It's
just a joke. Like, yeah.
People are simpletons out there. No. Why do you think the announcers apologize? They apologize. Oh, sorry for putting the jinx on. We put the double jinx on.
And last night was funny because they literally had spent the last 5 minutes talking about how great Brandon Aubrey is and how he does not miss and certainly doesn't miss at home.
Clank.
And then he hits the upright. And but then when they shot, obviously the foot slip. But it was they literally, because at that point, what else was there to talk about in the game other than how good Brandon Aubrey is? And then he comes in and
Well, they made sure they emphasized that foot slip.
At least when he made the 64-yarder, they got to, and then they were like, oh, well, nope, take that off the board. And so
that's typical Cowboys right there. Microcosm of the Cowboys season. They put points on the board, and then they're taken off because not a penalty.
The
no, they said thanks, but no thanks.
The microcosm of the Cowboys season was the 2 fumbles on one play.
Oh, my gosh.
Return for the touchdown. That defined
the Derek Barnett return.
The Cowboys season. We'll get a fumble picked up by an offensive lineman who gets blasted. He fumbles. He gets hurt because he tried to carry the football.
His injury,
he gets hurt, and then they still return it for a touchdown out of all that. But again, Mike McCarthy's only regret didn't get Trey Lance in the game.
That's a big regret there.
The Commanders might beat them by 50 this week. The Giants might beat them on Thanksgiving Day.
You okay?
No, I'm not. They literally can't even compete on their home field. I mean, that graphic they showed last night, that this year they've been leading for 2 minutes and 15 seconds on their home field.
Oh, my gosh.
And they've been trailing by more than 20 for, 200-some minutes?
I know they said the last 6 games they've been down by 20, which is an NFL record.
Yeah, it was I think over 200 minutes at home this year. They've been down by 20 or more.
Well,
they've led for 2 minutes and 50. It was at the very start of the Lions game when they got beat by 1,000,000. They kicked the field goal, or I can't remember, they got a field goal or touchdown early, had that lead for 2 minutes. It's the only time they've led on their home field. Which again, last year, they ended the regular season with a 16-game home winning streak. This year,
well, they're all in this year.
They're not even. They can't even compete. Buildings falling apart. Sun's in our eyes.
At least the Cowboys fans are getting smart. They're apparently selling their tickets because, as you said, there were a lot of Texans fans in there because they continue to buy tickets. It's America's team. Well, now they know, they're not really good, so let's sell them, make back our money, maybe even make a profit. All right, college basketball. Couple of things. First of all, the Memphis Tigers will be heading out to San Francisco. They'll take on the Dons, unbeaten San Francisco. That'll be on Thursday. P.J. Haggerty yesterday earned the American Conference honorable mention. He had won the Player of the Week for Week 1 of the college basketball season from the American Conference, gets the honorable mention this time around. He had 23 points in the win over Ohio on Friday night, 7 of 10 from the field. He had 17 points in the first half to pace the Tigers. He leads the American now in scoring, free throws made, and he's 5th in field goal percentage. A former Tigers son is doing his thing for one former Tiger head coach. The Arkansas Razorbacks and John Calipari knocked off Pacific by the score of 91-72. And the star of this particular game was Adu Tiero, who is the son of Almami Tiero. As Tiger fans out there of a certain age will remember Almami in the early stages of John Calipari's tenure here in Memphis. Adu scored 23 points to pace number 20 Arkansas. Also last night, Wisconsin had to rally, and I mean rally, to beat UT Rio Grande. I bring that up because Wisconsin's ranked, they're number 19. They're coming off the big win over number 9 Arizona, and this just shows you about letdowns. You get the big win over Arizona, you turn around, you're at home, you think you can go through the motions against UT Rio Grande, and you nearly get upset.
When you're dealing with 19, 20, 21-year-olds, if you don't think they're going to be letdowns and stuff like that, that's crazy. That it happens, and it will continue to happen, especially in college sports. We do have a winner in our Humdingers trivia. Only one even got the answers correct. Lots of wrong answers, though. The question is, what 2 franchises hold the record for the most consecutive home losses in NFL history? Do you care to wager a guess?
Give me the question one more time.
What two franchises hold the NFL record for most consecutive home losses?
Okay, let's think.
I knew two of the franchises that would get guessed a lot, and there were a ton of people that came with the same two franchises.
Okay. I'm going to guess it's going to be somebody that you don't expect, right? It's not going to be the obvious with all those wrong answers from people. I want to go with the Jets as one of them. Okay. How about, I'm just trying to think something different. How about the Chargers?
Nope.
All right. Elijah?
Well, I would think that the Cleveland Browns might be one.
Nope.
Wow.
So I was thinking that too, but I was like, that's an obvious one. I'm thinking Jags, Panthers, Cleveland. Are they Detroit? Are they all obvious? Let me go outside the box here. Did I say any of those right? Correct?
No.
Okay. So it's
we had a number of people. There weren't a lot. There were a decent amount of Browns. There was a lot of, and I knew a lot of people would come with Tampa Bay and Detroit.
That's right. Tampa Bay had the win.
Because you had the winless
season. That's right.
But that's only 8 home games in those seasons when they go winless over that.
Mm-hmm.
The record is 14 straight home losses. That's the record, which is held by 2 franchises. One of those no longer plays in the city that they set that record in.
Oilers?
No. That would be the Rams. Rams from 2008 to 2010 lost 14 straight home games.
Okay.
The other would be the team who maybe they'll break it. That would be the Dallas Cowboys, chasing their own record. Dallas Cowboys in 1988 and 89 lost 14 straight home games.
Wow.
So the Cowboys and the Rams are the 2 franchises who hold the record for the most consecutive home losses with 14 straight. Cowboys sitting right now at 6 straight home losses.
Dig down deep, guys. You can get it done, baby.
Well, not much hope of winning one this year unless it is the Giants.
So we will contact our winner?
We will indeed, letting our winner know how to get their prize. Again, only one person got the correct answer this week.
Congratulations to the winner. Dane Bradshaw will join us in just a moment. Do want to tell you folks about James Gaddis Jewelers, your family's jeweler, and your bridal engagement and anniversary jeweler headquarters. The holidays are upon us, and you're thinking about that special gift for that special someone. James Gaddis Jewelers has all the fine jewelry that I guarantee will put a smile on somebody's face, whatever it may be. A watch, bracelet, necklace, earrings, pendants, gemstones of all types, plus the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry, and they're always adding to that collection. Now, if you're getting engaged, you plan on getting engaged over the holidays or this spring, James Gaddis Jewelers, as I said, they are your bridal engagement and anniversary jeweler headquarters. They have a price point to suit everyone's budget. So whether it be a $2,500 diamond engagement ring to a $75,000 diamond engagement ring, whatever the case may be, they have it for you. Plus, they have the experts to help you make that right choice. They got 2 repair experts to help you with your fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing always available at James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick. On the web at gaddisjewelers.com. When we come back, Dane Bradshaw will join us. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
In Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and great quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we
They're still out here trying to clean up this mess on Bill Morris Parkway. They crashed in the eastbound lanes. 5 cars slammed together there on Bill Morris right at Winchester. But boy, westbound is slow because it was already heavy coming in from Collierville anyway this time of the morning over here. So now it's crawling even more on Bill Morris Parkway coming inbound at Winchester as they clean up this mess here on Bill Morris Parkway 385. Hey, shop now and save during the holiday season. Where? Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum of dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Over the weekend, as you've undoubtedly heard by now, we talked about it on the show yesterday, we lost one of the legendary high school basketball coaches, not only in our area and the entire state of Tennessee and probably in the entire southeast part of the country, and that's Terry Tippett, who passed away at the age of 79. 6 state titles, including 4 at White Station High School, 902 career wins, which ranks him second in Shelby County history, only behind the late Jerry Peters at MUS. Terry retired in 2018 after 42 years. And I thought it'd be appropriate to bring on one of our good friends. You know him from his time at White Station High School, at the University of Tennessee, and now as an SEC analyst on the SEC Network. Our friend Dane Bradshaw, who you can follow on Twitter at Dane Bradshaw. He joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Dane, how are you?
Hey, Greg, doing good. Thank you for bringing me on here and appreciate the intro.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, we get you on a lot to talk SEC basketball, which we'll do a little bit later on. But right now, it's all about your former coach, as I mentioned, the legend Terry Tippett, passing away at the age of 79. What did he mean to you?
Oh, he meant the world. I'm 40 years old now, and you know, as you get older, you become even more grateful for the influences and mentors and people you had in your life, where you have to wonder, where would my life trajectory be without those people? And so I'm just so tremendously grateful for Coach Tippett. I don't become the player I am. I don't get recruited at Tennessee. And then some opportunities have certainly come my way as a result of that. But I've had some great coaches in my life, none better than Coach Tippett. And as I said to somebody the other day, Coach and Nancy Tippett, the kids weren't in the cards for them. That wasn't part of God's plans. But boy, were they parents to so many.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a guy. He was a guy I sent a Happy Father's Day text to every Father's Day. And he was always like my dad and my parents wanted to know my TV schedule when I'm calling a game, and it didn't matter what game it was. He was going to be tuning in, and he was always going to be texting me during the game. And if he saw the same thing I saw, then I knew I was saying something right. If he saw something different, I realized I better point that out, because the guy was just such a genius. But as you know, and anybody in the city knows, his character, the way he walked the walk till his very last day, and his faith. There was nothing fake about it, and he never let us lose sight of that. No matter how talented of teams we had at White Station, and in the public school system, early 2000s, as religion was kind of getting pushed out, and that was against the rules. That was one rule he was willing to break, and he always made sure we never took it for granted. In any road trips we had daily devotions. We prayed before or after games, and I can't say enough about the guy.
What obviously the success on the court with the wins and the state championships, all of that stuff. What made him so successful on the court with winning as much as he did?
Well, I think he had such a passion for the game and going to coaching clinics, always trying to learn more. I got a text from him to sort of a White Station group text, or from him, this summer when Jerry West passed away, and he shared a memory about him sitting on a plane next to Jerry West, one of the greatest thrills of his life. It was in the 80s, and he was just lucky to be on the same plane from Knoxville going somewhere. And he got to sit next to him, and Jerry West was showing him how they used James Worthy and Irvin Johnson against this sort of, matchup here and there. I mean, he was just always asking questions. But he could also, he stayed calm under pressure. And, we would be in the huddle, and he knew what plays to call. He knew what adjustments to make. And as you guys know, I mean, we had some great athletes over the years that came to White Station, and I certainly credit, we had a 5-year run, the 4 years I was there and the year after me that were pretty epic, about a 94% win percentage. But it was the Robert O'Kellys and all the players before that really made playing for White Station become even more popular, that led to that. But, Coach Tippett, he had the ability to where we could run and gun, and we could have some highlights, throw it off the backboard, crowd-pleasing dunks, all that stuff. But you know what else? If we were in an overtime game and we won the jump ball, we could stall for 5 minutes and wait for the last shot like a farm team out of Indiana. I mean, it was we just had that incredible balance and discipline that he our shot selection was terrific. Any guy, I mean, he had so many players go on to play at multiple levels at the collegiately. And every coach that ever had a Terry Tippett player, it was a breath of fresh air. When they got a freshman in, they're like, wow, this kid understands the game. He knows what to do. And you always felt like you had a leg up on incoming freshmen because you were so well prepared, because he was like having a great college coach right there in the city of Memphis at the high school level.
You mentioned that the great run during the midst of your time at White Station, 2002 through 2004, 3 straight state titles, 3 straight high school basketball state titles, obviously 6 in all. So when you guys were doing your thing and running roughshod over a bunch of teams, not only in this county but around the state, what was it like? Did he keep you guys your feet planted? Was he did he like being the hunt it? I mean, what type of philosophy was his, and that he installed in you guys as you played those games and won those state titles?
Yeah, we certainly became the hunted in the city, but we knew how to embrace that, and I think we never let the highs get too high or the lows too low. But I think if he was here today to talk to you, as great as those memories were in the city, and I don't know that there's one better than the other. Obviously, the state titles speak for themselves. But it was when we really got opportunities to go to some of these national tournaments. Mm-hmm. There's some called the Beach Ball Classic in Myrtle Beach, some of the nation's best teams, the Bass Pro Champions in Missouri. And there were some high-profile teams with big-time superstars, McDonald's All-Americans, and we were kind of that throw-in team at the end that wasn't really expected to win anything, but a good, solid team out of Memphis, Tennessee. And we went in there and beat guys like Sebastian Telfair and their squad out of New York, and some of these places where you never would have thought that a team that doesn't have a double-digit scorer on their roster found a way to win those national tournaments. And I think kind of coming out of nowhere and surprising people as the underdog was one of the bigger thrills in his life. And, of course, that put us on a national map. And I think 3 out of the 4 years I was there, we finished the season ranked in the top 15 or so in USA Today. And so he's just incredible. And, for those listening that may have not realized it, but we would sub 5 in, 5 out. And you came to White Station, and I credit all the parents of our players too, because in today's day and age, with this immediate success, transfer, this and that, people came to White Station and played for Coach Tippett. They were willing to score less, play less, in order to win more. And it worked. And we had so many guys get college scholarships that never even averaged double digits, but they were associated with winning and selflessness. And we're well coached. And those things matter. They still do to this day. And Coach Tippett wouldn't budge from it, and the results are there to show.
So what was it like the first that first practice you go to play for him? I mean, at that point, he's already won a ton of games. He's a legend. Like, what was that first practice like when you're like, okay, this is my coach now?
Well, he coached you hard, But he had this great personality, and he knew when to let us talk trash, get into each other in practice, compete, fight a little bit, and he knew when to say, all right, hey, cut it out. He also had this incredible instinct to know, like, hey, you guys are getting complacent, you're getting a little cocky. Starting five, the second five's been kicking your butt in practice the past 3 days, and guess what? They're going to be starting tomorrow night. Things like that he just, those intangibles. But I remember kind of the first time I was entering my freshman year, and we were kind of doing one of those summer practices. I obviously came there because of him, but we're doing a little shooting drill, and it's just elbow-to-elbow jump shot. And I'm making a few in a row, and he comes up to me, and he's like, hey, Dane, I heard you can dunk. I was like, yeah, I mean, I can get up there. And so that's not – I wasn't known for my vertical. But in eighth grade, coming up eighth grade, if you could dunk, that was pretty good. So I was kind of had my chest out, yeah, coach. He's like, well, if you can dunk, why don't you jump on your jump shot? I mean, you hadn't even left the floor in 20 attempts. Like, we got to get that thing. And so it was just this immediate, you thought you had a compliment, and it was great, straight into coaching. And so he just and he would coach his best players, the Ernest Sheltons of the world, Robert O'Kelly, all those guys, just like he would the other players. And people loved playing for him. He was and he remained a friend for life. D. Wilkes and Melvin Wilkes, two of his former players that now at St. George's, but they had great success at FACS. And going into state championship games, D would be asking Coach, hey, man, what do you do against this zone, that? I mean, he was just still involved in the game and always, no matter how the game evolved, changed, he knew the right play and right strategy to do.
So he had a sense of humor.
No, there's no question he had a sense of humor. I mean, and he could do it in the middle of the game. I remember so I was an eighth grader. I was coming to watch one of their games. Ernest Shelton, I think, was a rising star sophomore at the time. And Fred Ray Harris, he was a freshman. And he saw me come up with my parents to the game, and he wasn't on varsity yet. He was on JV. And he just comes up, and he's like, big smile on his face. And he's, DB, what's up, man? Oh, you're thinking about coming here? Dude, you got to come here. Coach Tipp is the coolest dude in the world. He's like, watch this. I'm about to go sit next to him in the middle of the game and tell him what play to call. And he comes up in the middle of the game while Coach is sitting on the bench and scoots over. He's like, yo, Coach T, man, you got to run this double screen for Ernest. And Coach just looks at him laughing and says, Ray, get the heck out of here, man. But it was that type of, like, take your business seriously but not yourself so seriously. And he had that. And you loved being around him. He was approachable. And I'd certainly be remiss if I didn't say, his wife, Nancy, allowed him to do it. And when there's everybody can talk about they love coaching, and the spouse can say follow your dream. But, coaches are making a lot more money now in the high school level than they did back then. And they just never flinched. And she knew that, hey, this is what you do. This is our life. This is about giving back, following your passion, and forget the money, go do your thing. And to have a spouse that was that supportive, as a joke with others, I mean, Nancy's the most beautiful, wonderful human I know. But just like Coach, once you stepped in that Spartan Palace and gymnasium, it was on. And she would give this Pat Summitt stare to these refs when they called a bad call. As I said, if looks could kill, there wouldn't be an official left in Memphis. I can promise you that.
That's the thing, too. I mean, you just think about the number of hours that they've, through all those years, the number of hours he put into it. And, yeah, I mean, you got to have a special someone to be willing to put up for it for that long and all those hours that you're gone.
That's a good point.
And he also he was somebody I'd go to for advice. I remember when I was playing in Europe. I was playing for y'all have heard me joke about playing for the Holland Seals, so it wasn't quite the dream of getting drafted by the NBA and going. But I thought I was going to play for a few more years and just kind of get it out of my system. And I had a job opportunity in Chattanooga, and I just didn't expect to make a departure from basketball that quickly when it had been part of my life. And for so long, as I can remember, I just remember Coach Tippett saying, hey, Dane, always use basketball, don't let it use you.
Yeah.
And that was his way of saying, man, just, basketball is giving you this platform, giving you these opportunities to show what a hard work you are on the court. There's an employer that says, hey, I want you to do that same thing for me in business. And I've been with the same company. Another mentor of mine, John Thornton, for 16 years, and so I don't know that I do that without Coach Tippett's advice.
We have been we've been lucky because we have had an amazing array of great high school basketball coaches over the years. I got here in 1995, and I mean, I could rattle off the names of these coaches when I was doing local television and covering these guys. I didn't know most of them personally, but I knew them as far as covering them and interviewing them. And, of course, Coach Tippett right up there at the top. I mentioned only Coach Jerry Peters from MUS has more wins in Shelby County history, but I can rattle through 20 of these coaches, just amazing. You know, the Ted Andersons, the Wes Hennings. I don't want to leave anybody out, just so many of them. But Terry Tippett right there at the absolute top. 6 state titles speaks for itself. Dane, before
and Greg, I got to tell you real quick,
sure.
And it's so funny because, Memphis is a bragging rights town, and when guys are at, you're hearing about at the barbershop conversations, this and that, and it's so funny because everybody's comparing rosters, teams, talent. They're like, and it's almost like they dismiss it, like, yeah, but y'all had Coach Tippett. That doesn't count. Like it's like he was the cheat code. It's like, man, we were way better than y'all, but y'all had Coach Tippett, man. Like, you go out and I'm like, well, that matters, So,
there's something.
Anyway, he was the cheat code, and he was the difference maker.
Well, there's something to say about that, right? Who knows if you or any of your teammates, and this can go for a couple of different programs, would be as good if you went to a different program than that program with that coach. It just worked out perfectly for you and many other Spartans, and not just the Spartans. Obviously, he coached at a number of different schools, including Tresvent, ECS. I mean, after White Station, went to ECS and had success. So, again, we lost an absolute legend, but it's been great having you on to share some of that insight that not a lot of people know about Coach Tippett. Before we let you go, Dane, because we are now into the college basketball season, and I'm sure we'll get you on here sooner than later again, and we always appreciate it to get a real breakdown of the SEC. But what's your early thoughts on what we've seen so far from the SEC and their non-conference games?
Yeah, I think the league office has to be thrilled right now because while you may look at some of these wins and undefeated teams in the league right now and say, all right, well, the quality of opponent isn't that great. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of slip-up opportunities, and you have some of those resume-killing losses early in the season to non-con teams. And right now, the SEC's looking the part. And preseason, I think they had 11 teams projected to make the NCAA tournament. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. And then you got teams like Vanderbilt that are looking really good that were picked to finish towards the bottom. So the depth is for real. It's exciting. Mark Pope, obviously, Kentucky got that signature win already against Duke. There's a new renewed energy there. And then Coach Calipari, they're still they got a little rust going on at Arkansas, but they've got some injuries right now to some bigs. Jonas Adu, the transfer from Tennessee that I thought really was on the cusp of being an All-SEC player last year. He's not fully healthy, so Arkansas should keep getting better and better as well. Just really, really exciting time in the league, so I don't think it's going to disappoint.
He is Dane Bradshaw, the former White Station Spartan and UT Vol standout. Of course, you get to hear him and watch him analyzing SEC games on the SEC Network. He does an outstanding job with that. It's been great having you on, Dane. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at Dane Bradshaw. Thank you, Dane.
Thanks, guys.
Take care. Lost a legend. And unfortunately, as time goes by, you lose more of them.
It's a pretty good high school career for Dave. 3 straight state titles, pretty good.
Yeah, he was the Gatorade Player of the Year one year.
It's a nice little thing when just every year you're winning state title.
Yeah, he was the prime example of white men can jump, because that guy did have a pretty decent vertical. I'm not saying it was like Michael Wilson, but he can get up there. But he could shoot, and he just played defense and was an intelligent player. And again, a lot of that from Terry Tippett, just that type of coach. Okay, we'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 2. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
The holidays are near, and Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Generators is here to make this season extra cozy and cheerful. For For the first 50 customers who purchase a new Carrier system, tankless water heater, or a whole home generator, we have a special gift for you. Choose from a $500 gift card or 60 months no interest financing. And don't forget about Choate's Refer a Friend referral program, where you can earn up to $500. Simply refer a friend to use our services, and if they become a customer, you can earn up to a $500 Visa gift card. But hurry, this festive offer will only last through December 20th. Visit ChoatesHVAC.com or call 347-8086 to schedule your free estimate today. And turn to the experts with Choates and let our family serve your family this holiday season.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel will help you start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks. Words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks, "How's your French going?" you can say,
Bobby facilite grandement l'apprentissage des nouvelles langues.
Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday, it's happy hour from 3 to 6 with $1 off all draft meals, $5 off well drinks, $4.50 for house wine, and half off pretzel items, mozzarella sticks, queso, corn dogs, and pickles. Vinegar Friday night lights from 7 to closing. Dine in and buy 12 wings, get 5 regular wings for free. Come watch college football and every pro game on the weekends. All at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Highway 70, fall is football. Sports 56 mornings.
Isn't it a lovely morning?
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Appreciate Dane Bradshaw joining us, sharing some of those moments he had with Coach Terry Tippett. Coming up in hour number 3, we'll be joined by Parthu Pajai at 9:25 to talk some Memphis Tigers basketball. Also, some news from college football. Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin expects wide receiver Trey Harris to play on Saturday against Florida.
Yeah, that's some good news for them. They've certainly, now they've won, but he is a pretty big piece to that offense. So as they look to try and win these final couple of games and get into the college football playoff, that's a nice little addition to the offense.
Last night, they gave out the Major League Baseball Rookie of the Year awards. Tonight, it'll be the Managers of the Year all this week with the Cy Youngs and the MVPs still to come. But no surprise, although it wasn't going to be a slam dunk for Paul Skeens. You had the kid at San Diego who's absolutely fantastic, Merrill. But Paul Skeens, former LSU Bayou Bengal, wins it. Pittsburgh Pirate pitcher, great season, just unhittable. National League Rookie of the Year. And Yankees pitcher Luis Gil wins it for the American League.
Yeah, Skeens' margin of victory was a little bit more than I thought it would be, getting 23 of the 30 first-place votes. Thought it might be a little more divided than that between him and Merrill. The American League race was extremely close, with Gil only winning by 5 points, with 2 more first-place votes. Actually had fewer second and fewer third than Colton Cowser. So that one was extremely close, which was expected to be close. I think most people thought Cowser would probably end up winning that.
I think you're right.
But Gil ends up winning it, so you get 2 pitchers winning Rookie of the Year awards. But yeah, Skeens, I mean, the dude is crazy good.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, the velocity he gets on his fastball, but the movement he gets on his breaking stuff, he's just in command. He doesn't fall behind hitters. He gets ahead of them. He can do whatever he wants with his arsenal. By the way, with Cowser,
Like 4 years from now when he's pitching for the Dodgers, it'll be unbelievable.
Cowser dropped off the last month. He slowed down, and I think that's maybe hurt him as far as that. But Luis Gil had a great year. So tonight's the managers, like I said. Then you got the Cy Youngs and the MVPs. In other news, the Dodgers reportedly will meet with Juan Soto today. Are you kidding me?
Well, yeah, they're going to meet. I mean, they're going to meet with everybody. And
I know, but
if you're a free agent, you're going to meet with the Dodgers
when the
because they might offer you more money.
Right, but when the initial report came out from Jeff Passan, it was Mets, Yankees, Red Sox, Blue Jays. I mean, when is enough enough? How much money can you spend?
The Dodgers will spend an endless amount.
I mean, they're still turning profits? For goodness sakes. I mean, obviously result in a World Series title. So that's the ultimate goal. But for a business, the ultimate goal is to make max money. The money that they are spending on salaries is unbelievable. And what you would have to pay to get Soto? They're moving Mookie Betts to the infield, right? Mm-hmm. They've already made that decision. So he's going to play short?
I assume he's going back to shortstop, yes.
Okay. So.
But could be that second, I guess.
Okay, so who was playing second base for them? Who was? Where was Hernandez playing? Was he playing third?
Sometimes you had Muncy over there. I don't know who played the most games at second base for them.
You got Freeman at first. You got Smith catching. I mean, you got Ohtani. Who am I missing? You got both Hernandezes. And was there anybody hurt? I'm trying to think of another big bat that they had. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Obviously, Mookie. Freeman, I already said. And you're going to add, I'm not saying they're going to get him, but you're going to add Soto?
Gavin Lux played the most games at second
base. Yeah, Lux is a guy who could hit the long ball. Wow. That'll be interesting. I mean, when you have that many teams going after this guy, the price is going to be astronomical. People were first saying $600 million. I said, no, it's going to be $700 million. It may be north of $700 million.
Well, there was a report that the Mets are willing to go way above everybody else, possibly, to make sure they get him. So if that's the case, they will probably, because I still believe he will just go wherever the most money is in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it may be, but still, the amount of money we're talking about here just blows my mind, absolutely blows my mind. We were talking earlier about the Tigers' P.J. Haggerty, named honorable mention this week from the American Conference after winning the Player of the Week last week. Memphis gets ready for a long road trip. They'll be heading out to San Francisco. They'll play the Dons on Thursday, then on Hawaii for the Maui Classic next week, which will include a first game with UConn, the two-time defending champions. This is interesting. The Daily Memphian posted this about 20 minutes ago. According to Ken Pom, friend of the show, Ken Pomeroy, Memphis's bench has only totaled 21.8% of the team's total minutes so far this season. That ranks number 349 out of 364 Division I teams. Next week, they're going to play 3 games in 3 days. So I wonder how that will affect. I mean, one thing is playing 35, 34, 33, whatever those guys are playing, and then not playing another game for a week, because that's what it's been so far through 3 games. But next week, after this San Francisco game, 3 in 3 days, will it take its toll? Now, they may have found another player to play in Dink coming off the bench, who in that game on Friday night, the Fayette Ware former Fayette Ware star, Mr. Basketball candidate, I think. That was John Varlas would know this. I think he might have been, I don't know if he won it or was a semifinalist for Mr. Basketball. But Dink came in, hit a 3-point shot, hit another deuce, got a rebound, and Penny said afterwards that, yeah, I mean, we'll be able to, he was trying to ease him in. He'll be able to get some minutes out of him. So That will be probably needed when you play 3 in 3 days. But other than that, you don't have to have a deep bench. Penny's always had one, but this year he doesn't. And there's nothing that says you have to play 12 guys. Well, they don't have 12 guys to play. But as long as you don't have foul trouble, as long as you don't have injuries, you're fine with a rotation of 8 guys.
Yeah. Again, they're young. They can handle it. Got a friend text me. A batting order of Ohtani, Betts, Soto, Teoscar Hernandez, Freeman, Will Smith. Tough for pitchers to get out of the first inning.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
if that happens, yeah. I mean, it's bad enough now to get out of the inning with all those guys minus Soto. But if they get Soto, come on. What are we talking about here? What would the salary be?
Well, again, they're not currently paying Ohtani.
I know Shohei's is whatever they did with that. But the money still that they have to shell out overall with all these deals. Now, the Mets already have gone through the Bobby Bonilla thing. And I'm not saying Juan Soto is going to turn into Bobby Bonilla. But it wouldn't be shocking if that happens to the Metropolitans again, where something happens with Juan Soto and they're paying him for the next 40 years.
Well, if he defers money, but I don't think he is.
Oh, he wants the bulk of it up front?
I mean, he may defer some. Again, when you're getting paid that much, you may defer some of it, but he's not going to do what Shohei did. He's not going to defer like all of it, I don't think.
No, Shohei's is crazy. But the Bonilla contract, you think about it, it was a horrible contract, obviously, for the Mets. But for Bonilla, he still has some years, right? It's got to be coming to a close soon. Elijah, can you look up and see what Bonilla has left? Every year you get that paycheck from the New York Mets for whatever the money is. You haven't heard Bobby Bonilla's name in years. I don't know what he's doing. He's probably living in Tahiti. Hopefully he's enjoying life. Hopefully he's not sick or anything. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't heard the guy's name mentioned because every year you get this. It'll eventually run out here soon, but every year up until now, you've had this check from the Mets.
You need a tough, reliable tractor to tackle those tough chores? Go see the folks at Mid-South Ag Equipment. They'll take care of you with that Case IH Farmall series of tractors, bush hog equipment, and much, much more. If you're looking for new equipment, they got that. If you're looking for pre-owned equipment, they've got that. Maybe you just need to get your equipment serviced. Well, they can take care of that as well. Whatever it is you need in the world of that agricultural equipment, the folks at Mid-South Ag Equipment have what you need. Plus, you can get... You can find them online at midsouthag.com where you can check out that inventory. You can also see what special offers they may have going on at the time, or you can just go do it in person. 3044 Highway 302. That's Goodman Road, just south of Cairo on Goodman Road. If you take I-269 to the Goodman Road exit, it's a half mile west. Very easy to find them. And again, easy to find them online at midsouthag.com. They are Mid-South Ag Equipment.
What'd you find out, Elijah?
Yeah, so the Mets will be paying Bobby Bonilla $1.19 million every year until 2035.
So they still got 11 more years? Oh, my gosh. Again, what did you say, 1.9?
1.19 million.
1.19. So basically 1.2 million every year this guy gets that paycheck. Nice to have. Good work if you can find it. 2 hours in the books. When we come back, we'll open up hour 3 talking Grizzlies and the NBA, followed up by Tigers basketball talk with Parth Upadhyay from the Daily Memphian. You're tuned into Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
If You need glass replaced, and there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-611-7272. 800-611-7272.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Traffic brought to you by 901 Eats to Go, 3135 Kirby Whitten Road in Bartlett. Pick up, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or online at 901eats.com. Eats with the Z. Good food fast.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Filling out paperwork on this 5-car wreck that happened earlier out here on 385 Billmore Parkway going eastbound at Winchester. It's had it slow in both directions as they clean up this mess. Again, a lot of rubbernecking delays out here on Billmore Parkway. Hopefully it'll start to move better. It's still heavy with that volume on 40 West at Chambers Chapel, Canada Road, all that traffic coming in from Fayette County. Hey, shop now and save during the holiday season at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This is Original Sports Station. We are Sports 56. WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis. Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. And once again, our Greg Gaston and Eli Support.
Rolling right along on a Tuesday morning. Welcome back. Hour 3, Sports 56 mornings on this Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers. We're broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. The ultimate game room and fall sale going on right now at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 60 degrees. We'll get up to 72 today. Got some sunshine, got some clouds as well, but the rain is gone after getting drenched last night. We got soaked, and that's good. I mean, sometimes you need that rain. We got it overnight, which is good as well, and now it is gone. Tonight, we're looking at mostly clear skies, 50 degrees for a low, and then tomorrow should be very nice, although the high only reaching about 60, 61 degrees. It will be sunshine tomorrow. Hour 3 of the program brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More, located at 2356 Goodman Road. That's in Horn Lake. Short trip from anywhere in the Memphis area. They also have stores in Cleveland, Mississippi, where they began about 8 years ago, and in Little Rock, Arkansas. They specialize in flooring and carpeting. Great service, and also you're going to save a lot of money because they sell at wholesale. Skip the middleman, going to save you lots of money. Instead of going to those big box stores, you're going to save lots of cash, lots of hard-earned money, right? Ceramic and porcelain tiles. They have all different styles for you, different colors. Hardwoods by Portercraft. Carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet. Backsplashes, plantation shutters and blinds, and so much more. They'll get the job done for you in less than 2 weeks. So if you go with Jenkins, expect that job to be done in 2 weeks. They'll come to you wherever you are. Just reach out to them, stop by or call them. They'll come to you with a free estimate. Now, if you do it yourself, you're a fixer-upper yourself with your home, or you're a contractor out there, it makes sense to head to Jenkins Floors and More to save a lot of money on the material. Jenkins Floors and More. Go see them at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake, or call them at 662-469-9350. Ask about the Sports 56 family discount. Military and first responders get 10% off. Great family, great service, great product. Jenkins Floors and More.
I had to look it up just to refresh my memory about the whole Bobby Bonilla thing. But the Shohei Ohtani contract, from when he turns 40 to that next 10 years, the man will get a $68 million check every year.
Isn't that crazy? Bobby Bonilla's from the, 80s?
From 40
so you think of that.
Through 49 years old. Every year, a $68 million check.
Yeah.
Coming your way.
But again, put it in perspective. Bonilla was a great player. He's no Shohei Ohtani. But that was a lot of money. A lot of money. And now you're talking about astronomical amounts of money. You can't fathom how much money that is. $68 million check every year. Elon Musk can.
10 straight
Jeff
years.
Bezos can.
You win the lottery
Bill
every
Gates
year.
can.
You're winning the lottery every year for 10 straight years.
That's sick.
I mean, again, Bonilla, obviously it's great money. You're over $1 million every year for a 25-year stretch.
Yeah, for doing nothing.
But, I mean, $68 million. I mean, when his career ends, he'll then start earning $68 million a year.
Yeah, and again, the Dodgers, even though it's deferred, I mean, they're going to have to pay it. So it's still all that money, all those millions and millions and millions of dollars that you are spending, but you're not doing it if you're not turning a profit. You're winning World Series titles, but you don't want to do it to a losing tune. What kind of business people are you? So they're making money. So whether it be the TV rights, whether it's national or local, the concessions, the tickets, the suites and things of that nature, the park, everything. It all adds up that they're making that much money while dishing out that much money for their payroll.
What I did not realize, Chris Davis from the Orioles, he's got a deferred deal. He gets a $9 million payment this year, gets a $9 million payment next year. Gets $3.5 million a year from 26 through 32, and then $1.4 million through 2037. For basically, what do you have? 2 good years?
Yeah. Take advantage of it. Overpay. That's what you want these organizations to do. Overpay.
$59 million he is owed in deferred money.
From the NBA, Bob Love has passed away at the age of 81. For you older folks like myself, you remember Bob Love with those Chicago Bulls teams from the 70s. I'm growing up at that time. It's when I'm collecting cards and I'm doing all kinds of things with lineups. I knew lineups for every single team in the NFL. Well, maybe not so much in the NFL. I probably didn't know all the linemen. But for Major League Baseball, I knew all the lineups for all the teams, and same with the NBA and their starting five. And I can remember was Chet the Jet Walker, Bob Love, Tom Boerwinkle, Jerry Sloan, Norm Van Leer. That was the starting five I remember for the Bulls. They weren't my favorite team. I just remember that. Somehow I remember that. I can't remember what I had for dinner last night. But Bob Love was a really good player. I think he was a 3-time All-Star. Passes away at the age of 81. The Grizzlies tonight will take on the Denver Nuggets for a second time in 3 days. The Grizzlies won easily on Sunday, 105-90. That was the Nuggets without Nikola Jokic. Grizzlies installed as a 3.5-point favorite last night when I saw this. But what's the status on Jokic?
I'm not sure. I did not see Denver, what their injury report says.
I mean, right now, let me see if the line has changed, because it'll change drastically if he's playing. Last night, again, I saw this line as 3.5. It's now 4.5.
Jokic is listed as questionable for this one.
Yeah, I mean, at 4.5 points, if you got Memphis minus 4.5 and Jokic ended up playing.
Actually, maybe that no. Hold on, let me see. That may not be
Is
updated.
that
That may not be updated one.
Was that for the Sunday game?
That may be still from Sunday. Let me see if I can find it.
Obviously, he missed Sunday, and it was because of personal reasons. Don't know what that is. But again, if he's not playing, Grizzlies have a chance to sweep. If he's playing without Ja's out, they're not beating the Nuggets. The Nuggets with Jokic are a whole different animal. They're a whole different beast. They dominated in the game on Sunday. And remember, Aaron Gordon's out too. He's not playing.
Yeah, Jokic is still questionable.
And that, again, that line will, if all of a sudden that news came down in the next 5 minutes that Jokic was playing, that line would go from minus 4.5 to probably Denver 2. Denver by 2.
No.
You don't think so?
Not a 6-point swing of him, no.
Jokic is not worth a 6-point swing. You're crazy. You're crazy. I would take that in a heartbeat. But Memphis minus 4.5 is certainly doable without Jokic. Now, again, no Ja. He is out. Zach Edey is out as well. And Zach, I think, has been playing really well. I think he's been doing a great job. He hadn't been starting. Clark was starting. I think eventually Edey would be put back into the starting lineup. Not sure what's going on with that, but he had the ankle injury, came back into the game, and re-aggravated it on Sunday. So I'm not sure what the status is other than he's out tonight. But as I said yesterday, it doesn't seem to be too serious, but with the Grizzlies, he'll be reevaluated in 2 to 4 weeks or some of that stuff. Questionable is Marcus Smart, who missed the game on Sunday because of an illness. So not sure what the illness is, but still questionable for tonight's game. After tonight, the Grizzlies will play tomorrow night against the Philadelphia 76ers. Sixers played last night, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And Embiid was out for last night. So will he play tomorrow night? That's a big question. Sixers are really bad right now because they have not had Embiid for most of the year, and they have not had Paul George for most of the year. And even them playing together, it's something new with Paul George joining the team this year. So I don't know. I mean, Grizzlies have a chance to go on a nice little run here and take advantage of guys being out for other teams, not just always them being in trouble because of the guys who are out for them. They have coming up, let's see, who do they have after Philadelphia? Let me find the schedule here because I know they got a bunch of home games. Here it is. They'll have.
They're at Chicago, then they come home with Portland, Detroit, New Orleans, and Indiana.
Yeah, so Portland will be next Monday, and then Detroit next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow. So again, these are winnable games. Certainly, you're getting teams that are good teams that are missing key parts. Again, the Grizzlies continue to miss Ja Morant, who on social media didn't say it directly, but kind of hinted to he'll be back sooner than later. Here's the thing. Ja Morant's played 8 games. The team has played 14. So he's already missed 6 games. The number of games that you have to play to be eligible for postseason awards, all NBA and all that is 65. So Captain Math will tell you he's like, 11 more games? He's missed 6, right? So he has 11 more games to play with. Well, tonight we'll make it 10 more games to play with. I mean, this is becoming a major issue. Obviously, Ja is a great, great player, but you have to have him on the court. Now, they've done pretty well without him, but it's not lasting. You can't sustain success without that guy. But you give credit to everybody in that organization for doing what they did in the moves that they made because these players have really come through. To see what Jalen Wells has done, to see what Jay Huff, Scottie Pippen Jr. have done, to see the improvement in Jake LaRavia. Quite frankly, I didn't expect it. But it's there.
Do you know who leads the Grizzlies in net rating?
Edey?
No.
LaRavia?
Nope.
Wells?
No.
Who is it?
Brandon Clark.
Really?
By a wide margin.
Really?
The defensive rating when Brandon Clark is on the floor is he and Jaron especially together, like when they play together, but they have their defensive rating is the defensive rating is better in the 14 minutes that Colin Castleton has played, but if you take guys who've actually played minutes, the defensive rating when Brandon Clark is out there is 93.7. There really isn't anybody. Jaron's is 99.2. That's the second best. But again, those two guys, when they're out there together, the Grizzlies defensively are exceptional. But Jaron is, again, of guys who played, Jaron and Ja are a plus 21. Those two are plus 13.9.
Well, he does things that you don't always see in the box score, right? He's out there, and even myself neglecting to see that because I know that he said last year in the exit interviews, was it the exit interviews or another time? But anyway, they asked him about starting or coming off the bench, and he said his preference is coming off the bench. And before the injury, he would come off the bench, he'd be impactful right away. He's not scoring that much, right? What's his points per game average? 6?
Brandon, I'm not sure.
I mean, it can't be that much, can it? Maybe I'm overlooking it. But defensively, you're right. You throw them together with Tripp, that's hard for teams. They're going to alter shots. They're going to block shots. Clark's always been a good rebounder. So that makes sense. Things you don't always see necessarily, the defense he plays, the man-to-man defense he plays. You don't see that in a box score.
And the thing is, too, so Clark, when he's on the court, again, the net rating is 21.0. With Brandon Clark off the court, the net rating is 0.9.
Wow, that blows me away.
That's why Brandon Clark is in the starting lineup, I assume.
Yes,
when they looked at that, like, wait a second, we got to get Brandon Clark more minutes. And again, getting him minutes with Jaren Jackson Jr. is the smart way to go because that two-man lineup, their numbers are fantastic.
When we looked ahead to the Grizzlies schedule, mentioned that the Pistons are in next Wednesday. Jalen Duren, the former Memphis Tiger, last night in a 122-112 loss to the Bulls, 22 rebounds. He had 15 points and 22 rebounds. Jalen Duren has been better than I thought he would be. I thought he would be good. He's he's not the tallest guy going up against some of these bigs in the league, but he is strong as an ox. 22 rebounds, 15 points. Jalen Duren in a 122-112 loss. So I'm getting a kick out of this. I'm looking at the schedule, and then this is on ESPN.com. Schedule's on the right, and results are on the right. And then on the left, they have the headlines. I talked about Bob Love just a moment ago, passing away at the age of 81. Top headlines. Ready? Top headlines. Bronny doubtful for Jazz game with bruised left heel. Not LeBron. Bronny. Got that, Elijah? Y'all set down? In case you're betting that game, Bronny is doubtful versus the Jazz with a bruised left heel. One of the top headlines on ESPN. Bronny, who will not be playing any G League away games. Bronny.
That Jaren Jackson Jr. Brandon Clark combination just as a two-man lineup, a net rating of 27.7, defensive rating of 91.6. That's how good those two have been together. Easily the best Grizzlies net rating of a two-man lineup of two guys who have played of over 100 minutes. The thing is, like most of the top ones that have actually had minutes, a decent amount of minutes together, feature Brandon Clark. Like Brandon Clark, Jake LaRavia on the court together. Their net rating is off the charts. John Morant and Brandon Clark together. They don't have quite as many minutes because of Ja's timeout. That's off the charts.
I didn't realize that.
Jaron Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bain is one that doesn't feature Brandon Clark as far as two-man lineups go.
Mhm.
That is off the charts.
Good for BC. It's great to have BC back.
But yeah, it makes a lot of sense to have Brandon Clark starting games alongside Jaron Jackson Jr. because that lineup works very well together. Just having those two guys out there, and then obviously with the fact that Ja works, Brandon Clark have good numbers. You want to get him out there with Ja as well, and then the Jaron Jackson Jr. Desmond Bain combination together has good numbers. Makes sense that you have Ja, Desmond, Jaron, and Brandon Clark all starting the game together.
Yeah, isn't that crazy how having your best players in the lineup makes you better? It's pretty. I never really thought about that. But if you have Ja and Dez and Jackson together, and of course BC with what he does defensively, it makes a whole lot of sense. Last night, by the way, quickly in the NBA, Damian Lillard's back for Milwaukee. They needed a win. They got a win. Lillard with the game winner as Milwaukee won their game last night by the score of 101-100 over the Rockets. Also last night, the Hawks beat the Kings. Daniels got a block in the final seconds. They beat the Kings 109-108, but the Kings are playing right now without Sabonis. They're playing without DeRozan, and they're playing without Monk. So they got three key players that are out. The Lakers have announced that they will honor Pat Riley with a statue outside the arena. Hopefully it'll be better than the Dwayne Wade statue in Miami. And I'm sure there'll be a Pat Riley statue one day in Miami as well. Pat Riley deservedly so.
The Lakers tend to do, like the Kobe one, looks like Kobe.
Yeah.
Looks a lot like Kobe.
How many statues now? I know Wrigley Field, when I went to Wrigley, all those statues they have is really cool. St. Louis has them as well. Los Angeles now, how many Laker greats are out there with statues, I wonder? I mean, Jerry West has a statue, I assume. Probably Jabbar, Wilt, Magic. I'm going to try to find that out. I'm assuming they'll have them all. And now Kobe, obviously. But now you're going to have one for Pat Riley. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Parthu Pajai, a day earlier than usual to talk some Memphis Tigers basketball. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Mayweather Boxing and Fitness offers a high-energy, full-body workout that utilizes the same equipment and technology employed by Floyd Mayweather to achieve his impressive 50-0 record. The workout features 4 types of heavy bags, treadmills, rowers, battle ropes, weights, and much more. Visit Mayweather Boxing and Fitness, located at 2257 North Germantown Parkway in Cordova. Train like a champ. Mayweather Boxing and Fitness. 901-673-1267.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday is happy hour from 3 to 6 with $1 off all draft meals, $5 off well drinks, $4.50 for house wine, and half off pretzel bites, mozzarella sticks, queso, corn dogs, and pickles. Enjoy Friday night lights from 7 to close. Dine in and buy 12 wings and get 5 regular wings for free. Come watch college football and every pro game on the weekends. All at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square, Highway 70. Fall is football.
Getting engaged soon? Don't make her settle for one of those knockoff, mass-produced rings you find at most jewelry stores. Get to Genesis
Mitsubishi on the Pike. The year-end sales event is going strong, and now it's your time to buy. Save big on 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV, $32,250 or $269 a month. 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage, $17,910 or $279 a month. Or 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. We Gossett at $28,050 or $399 a month. Plus, every Gossett Mitsubishi comes with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. The year-end sales event is going strong, so hurry to Gossett Mitsubishi today and end your year with big savings at 1870 Covington Pike and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
RZO 67244, MSRP 42750, Mirage RHO 15713, MSRP 18410, Outlander RUO 20512, MSRP 29550, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 95 The Fan. This hour brought to you by James Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
So according to the story I saw during the break, the Lakers have honored a bunch of these guys with statues. It's called Star Plaza outside the arena. And the others, of course, Pat Riley will be the newest one, are Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and broadcaster Chick Hearn. So the LA Lakers not giving any love to Wilt Chamberlain, since most of his time was with, Philadelphia Warriors, and then of course, I think at the very end of his career with the Lakers, and then Jarvis texted me. He said he's been out there, and he said it's unbelievable. He said there's one for Worthy, but the story says no statue for Worthy. So anyway, that's a lot of statues.
He's not worthy of a statue.
He is worthy of a statue, though.
He's worthy, but he's not worthy of a statue. I wonder if LeBron's statue will include Bronny,
yes,
like by his side,
and the other kid
sitting on his
coming
lap.
up.
It could be Bronny sitting on LeBron's lap. That'll be the statue.
Read me a bedtime story, Daddy. Time now for Parthu Pajai.
It's time to talk Memphis Tigers basketball. Joining Greg and Eli is Parth Upadhyay, the Tigers beat reporter for the Daily Memphian. Now here's Parth with Greg and Eli.
Parthu Pajai from the Daily Memphian joins us each and every week, normally on Wednesday, but Parth will be jumping on a big bird again, heading out to San Francisco tomorrow. So thanks for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for y'all's flexibility. Tomorrow, obviously, is going to start a 10-day road trip for me. So I'll be away from Memphis until the 29th of November.
It's the Parth World Tour as he hits all these cities for the first time. Got Vegas, doing San Francisco, Hawaii. It's the World Tour.
Not bad for a beat writer, right?
Not bad.
Pretty good
Not
life.
bad.
So Friday was Ohio.
Yep.
The pick to win the MAC. They're still trying to figure themselves out. They were missing a player, but look, it's a team.
Their leading scorer, yeah.
Yeah, Elijah Mitchell. It's not a team that is in the caliber, I think, of a Memphis, and we saw that with the way the Tigers played, especially in the second half as they put them away. First half was interesting because they did get off to a quick start, which they had not the first two games.
Yep.
Then Ohio started to make plays, and we had a 5-point game at halftime?
5-point game at halftime.
Yeah,
I think it's like 43-38, something like that at half.
But second half, it was all Memphis.
Yeah, especially with about 8 or 9 minutes to go. Memphis kind of just put its foot on the gas and, pulled away for good there. But, yeah, I think some of the sloppiness is, even with the fast start initially, they blew that, 14-point lead in the first half almost in a span of a few minutes just because the turnovers added up. And, Ohio would get down there in the court and jack up threes and make them. And I think we're going to see something similar against San Francisco in terms of turnovers being an issue if Memphis doesn't correct that.
The one good thing again. I mean, they have to be the best second half team in the country. I don't know what the numbers are. It seems like they'd have to be the best second half team in the country.
I haven't
measured
that or calculated that, but yeah, no doubt.
But they shot 72% from three for the game. That's you can't
school record.
Yeah, a school
Program
record. They're
yeah.
number one right now in the country. It's not sustainable though, right?
I mean, nobody shoots 49.1% from three. Not even the best 3-point shooting teams in the country do that.
Yeah, I mean sustainable. I mean even close to that. I mean,
look,
come on.
If you can shoot, I don't know, let's say maybe not 49, but 35 36. That's good enough.
Yeah,
they'll be good enough to win
upper
plenty
30s.
of games with the style of defense Memphis plays.
So let me ask you about the turnovers. This wasn't Ohio pressing them and forcing turnovers or playing great defense. This was just at times later in that first half, Memphis being lackadaisical and just chucking passes from half court into double or triple coverage. You clean that up, those turnovers are going to drop, and that's more possessions you'll have.
Yeah, they had 11 of their 14 in the first half, and for the game, they gave up 21 points off turnovers to Ohio. Obviously, in all three games, they've given up, I believe, at least 20 points. It was 24 against Mizzou, 21 against Ohio, and then 18. I'm looking at it right now, 18 against UNLV. So they've given up at least 18 points off turnovers against these first three opponents.
Need to cut that down.
It's not ideal.
Yeah, they're 252nd in the nation in turnover percentage.
Correct.
So it's a good thing they're shooting the ball and being efficient as far as that is concerned because they're giving those away. I mean, it would seem as though the obvious thing here, over this stretch, your world tour, we will find out a heck of a lot about them. Obviously, San Francisco's a good team, but then Hawaii, I mean, you're going to be facing
UConn, number 2.
And then so there are plenty of other good teams in that field that they could see. We'll see who they end up matching up with.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance, like, depending on how the bracket shakes out, they could play 3 top 50 KenPom teams back to back to back. Because there's not very many outliers in terms of, even moderately bad teams in that field, right? Colorado, I think, is the worst team metrically, and it sits at about 71, 72. So it's not like it's out of the top 100 either. So, if you can, avoid Colorado, which I guess you'd have to beat UConn to avoid Colorado in theory, but
it's
point
Colorado
being, there's a really
Michigan
good,
State?
Michigan State,
Yep.
yes. So they'd play the winner or loser of that, obviously, in the second game.
Yeah, well, let's start with San Francisco first. Because San Francisco's undefeated. They have been really good the last few years. I think it'll be a tough task. I know their coach said, it's obviously going to be a big challenge for his team against Memphis.
Yep.
What do you think the keys are to this game, and what type of a front line does San Francisco have? Because playing against Ohio, they played against a smallish front line and were able to do some really good things, especially in the second half when they scored in the paint at will. What do we got in San Francisco?
Yeah, I think, when you talk about keys and we talk about the three-point shooting and whether that's sustainable or not, obviously 49.1 likely not sustainable. But if we really want to find out if this is a fluke or if this is at least somewhat legit, we're going to find out, I think, Thursday against this Dons team, because this is a team that did fifth in all of college basketball. So that's in that kind of top third of the sport there. So we're going to find out quickly whether the Tigers are legit at shooting the ball or whether it's been kind of fluky because they've played bad defensive teams. That's one. And then the turnovers, like we talked about. Memphis is averaging 14 and some change a game. San Francisco has been really good at turning teams over. Obviously, they've played not the toughest of opponents, but Memphis has been sloppy with the ball, and that could be an issue as well. So I think it kind of starts there, is shooting the ball and not losing it, not being sloppy, not being careless.
Are they big? I don't know the team that
They've got a 7-footer.
They do have a 7-footer. The UTSA transfer. I'm blanking on his name right now.
Carlton Lingard.
But they've got some shoot. They've got 3 guys who are shooting over 50% from 3, on I think it's 3 or more attempts. So they've got their starting backcourt shooting above 50%, and then their starting wing as well. So I think it's going to be kind of that 3-point battle there. Is going to be one of the major keys to this game.
Yeah, it's interesting because they got the Lingard kid. He actually shoots threes, although he doesn't shoot it very well. He's 2 for 14 from 3-point range on the year, the 7-footer. So he will step out and shoot them, but I guess you want him to do that because he doesn't make them. And then they got another kid who's shooting 2 for 16. So if you take those 2 guys out, then the other guys are all 3-point shooters, but those 2 guys are awful from 3-point range.
Yeah, just looking down there, I was looking at, obviously, their roster last night and their stats so far this season. It seems like everybody's shooting it on their team. Even if, they're not going in, they're still shooting it. And like you said, you take out those outliers, and this is a drastically different-looking 3-point shooting team than even we see on paper here. And they've got 3 guys, like I said, Marcus Williams, Tyrone Riley, the fourth, and I'm blanking on this guy's name, but Newberry. Is it Nadeb? I'm going to butcher the guy's name, but
that's okay.
They've got 3 guys who can really, really shoot it.
How is Memphis defending the 3?
Not great, as we've kind of seen. And I feel like a lot of that's just been off of turnovers, right? Like teams will turn Memphis over, or Memphis will make a careless pass, and then all of a sudden you've got
They'll hit a 3 in transition.
He hit a 3 in transition, or you've got kind of the ball swinging around the perimeter on the other end, and Memphis gets burned time and time again on those type of plays.
Would you take 2-2 on this road trip?
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm not, and it's not 2-2 with one of the wins being Connecticut. Okay, let's not get
I was going to
crazy
say it
here.
matters what too, right?
No,
Like,
they're definitely losing to Connecticut. Let's say they're 2-2. Are you taking 2-2?
I think if you can beat San Francisco and compete in Maui, even if you go 1-2, be competitive in all 3 games, I think you take 2-2. Absolutely.
What do you think, Eli?
What do y'all think?
Yeah, I mean, I think 1-2 in Maui is a. I mean,
it depends how those games look. If you get curb stomped,
is a kind of a likely outcome.
Right. It's not a
that's out
disaster
there.
by any stretch of the imagination.
No. I mean, say if you lose to UConn, then you beat Colorado, and then, I mean, I guess unless you got Dayton and lost to them, but if you lose to Auburn, Iowa, well, you would think that'd probably be.
And even Dayton's respectable.
You think
Dayton's not a,
if you went that route, if you lost to UConn, beat Colorado, you would think there's a good chance you're going to get Iowa State, because Iowa State probably loses to Auburn and then beats Dayton.
Yeah, good chance you get Iowa State or Auburn, right? Is what you're thinking?
Yeah. I mean,
assuming that,
if it goes as what you would expect, Auburn would beat Iowa State, North Carolina beats Dayton, Iowa State would beat Dayton, and you'd play Iowa State if you lost to UConn and beat Colorado.
Where would you rank Memphis in the field?
Ooh, that's a good question. Man.
So I don't have the field in front of me, but you just rattled off a bunch of the teams.
Yeah,
Auburn's playing, Michigan State's playing, Iowa State's playing, obviously UConn's playing.
Yep.
Where would you put Memphis right now?
So I'm just going to go ahead and list the teams that I think are in front of Memphis, or that we know are in front of Memphis, right?
All
So it's
right.
North Carolina, Auburn, Iowa State, Michigan State perhaps too.
And UConn.
And then UConn, obviously.
So that's 5.
So I think
Maybe 6?
sixth. Yeah. Pretty close to Dayton, but clearly better than Colorado.
I mean, if you go with KenPom rankings, Auburn's number 1, Connecticut's number 5, Iowa State's number 8.
Jeez.
North Carolina's number 14. Michigan State, I don't know. I don't see Michigan State. Michigan State's 2 behind Memphis. Michigan State's at 38.
So maybe even higher than what we just said, maybe like 5th, right?
So if they walked out of there winning 2 out of 3 in Hawaii and beating San Francisco,
Dayton's
that'd be unbelievable.
Dayton's 43rd. So, yeah, I mean, everybody, as you said, but Colorado is in the top 43.
Where's Memphis now?
In KenPom rankings.
36, up to 36.
Yeah, so they're right there. I mean,
Colorado's at 70. So you got 7 top 43
That's the only outlier,
and
Colorado.
one, and then number 70.
Yep.
I think defensively, really good. In the half court, they've been swarming. You talked about some problems giving up the 3, but I think they've been really good. Their help defense. The back line's done a good job in altering shots and being effective, whether it be Cisse or whether it be Danger, or especially Jourdain, who played great in this past game. I mean, he was all over the place.
He's been really good, man.
Yeah.
He's taken that next step.
Yeah, other than dribbling the one off his foot when he had the breakaway dunk. I was getting ready to call that on TV. But yeah, it's no, I think they played well. Now, the other side of it is, again, this San Francisco team, it's on the road. They're playing at the home of the Warriors, right? With the Chase Center.
Yeah, they're calling it a neutral, but it's
not a neutral.
It's like 5 miles from San Francisco's main campus,
right? But I don't know what kind of following the Dons get, for goodness sakes, out there. But it's still on the road for Memphis. It's a long trip, and it's going to be a tough game. Can they win it? Absolutely, they can win it. But I think they really need to win it, because then that gives them just that extra
So much
oomph
momentum.
going into Hawaii, in my opinion.
If they win this game Thursday, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say the whole college basketball world is going to be watching the Memphis Tigers come Monday before Thanksgiving. I don't think that's an exaggeration at all.
And then, I mean, the thing too, again, you need to win this game, because again, I think 1-2 is probably the likely outcome in Maui.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to go 1-3 on the trip. I can't imagine, forget the 3 games in 3 days, just being on the road that long. Like, how much energy they're going to have that final game in Hawaii.
I'm not even playing any basketball, and I'm like,
I don't care what you do. You go on the road that long, it just it takes it out of you. That last game, I just can't imagine them having a whole bunch of energy in that last game.
No, you hit it on the head. But the first point you made, we shouldn't poo-poo that. 3 games in 3 days. Yes, they're young, they're energetic, they're in the best shape.
They're not deep.
but they're not deep. So is that going to be an issue?
Yeah, Penny's alluded to it. He's really playing 8 guys. I wrote about this in my Tigers Insider that published this morning. But there's only 8 players on this roster that are logging more than 4 minutes per game. That's not a normal thing under Penny Hardaway, obviously. Mm-hmm. And Penny talked about kind of some of the little knick-knack injuries, the knee stuff with Tyrese and the knee stuff with PJ and Musa Cisse's groin issue and Nicholas Jourdain's hip issue. So these things are only 3 games in, starting to add up a little bit. Can you play PJ Haggerty 35.7 minutes per game the rest of the way? Can you play Tyrese Hunter 34.3? I don't know if that's sustainable.
They don't have a lot of options, though.
They don't.
Maybe you have to ease up a little bit in practice, which they did going into the Ohio game because Haggerty and Hunter both missed time.
Yep.
What about some extra minutes from Dink?
That'd be fun.
How about him coming off the bench and doing what he did Friday?
Yeah, the place was roaring. When he hit that 3 and
this wasn't some kid at the end of the bench who does. This guy
he's a
actually
JUCO transfer.
He's a JUCO transfer, but played at Fayette Ware.
He did
in Somerville. People know the name.
Right.
He came in like he was the boss. Hits that 3,
Super
hits the other deuce.
Yep.
I think he got a steal or a block or a rebound, something like that. But didn't Penny allude
2 or 3 minutes of playing time?
Yeah. Didn't Penny allude to? I wasn't there at the presser, but didn't he say something? Because I thought somebody had written about it on Twitter, maybe you, that he said, I feel comfortable to be able to play him.
He said Dink earned that playing time.
Yeah.
He's gradually showed progression from the time he's got here this offseason to now, and he's worked for that and earned his keep there. As that 10th or 11th spot.
It's another body that's actually capable.
And they need him. They need him, no doubt.
What about, and I know we're still a couple of weeks away.
Sure.
But we're going to get to that portal date. We're going to get to that time where guys are going to be jumping in. And it just, to me, seems like Penny really wants to add another body. Do you get that feeling?
Absolutely. I think he's said it pretty much outright every time we've asked him. From the time this Tyreek Smith saga kind of came to an end with Tyreek entering the transfer portal and being just gone from the team. Penny's been asked about this, I think, 2 or 3 times already since that point. And each time he said, hey, we're waiting and seeing, we're waiting and looking. We're gonna we're gonna keep an eye on the portal and see who jumps in and see who might be a good fit. So I think he's definitely looking to add.
Do you think? You would think because they lost Tyreek Smith, it would be a front court player, and it probably would be. But because there really isn't a lot backing up Haggerty and Hunter,
that's a good point.
Okoji's been okay. Maybe they go in that position, another guard.
Absolutely. I think the main thing would be, and I know they've shot the ball extremely well, but adding another player who can shoot the rock, I think that'd be key. No matter if that's a front court player or a guard. But you make a good point. Behind PJ Haggerty and Tyrese Hunter, there's Baraka Okoji, and we really haven't seen Jared Harris as much as we thought we might see him when he was. Killing it in the preseason, and everybody thought he was ahead of schedule.
We got a text here that says, it's funny, we used to complain about playing too many players. Now we're concerned with him playing 8. I think 8 is a good number as long as we stay healthy.
Yeah. We all love it. It's just the concern would be if somebody goes down.
It's a very fine balance. And I think Penny said that just to kind of tease us a little bit, in the Insider that published this morning at dailymemphian.com, I wrote about this, and I looked at, in the past, what percentage of minutes has Memphis's bench gotten under Penny Hardaway? I find stuff like this really fascinating. So this year, I know it's only 3 games, but only 21.8% of the team's total minutes have been allocated to the bench. That's 349th out of 364 Division I teams.
Yeah, I saw that number earlier. Brought it up. It's crazy, but no, I'm with I think we're all in the same boat with the texter that it's fine. You only need to go 7, 8, 9, depending, and that's what teams normally do in the NCAA tournament.
But you want to have that insurance.
And
I think that's what they don't have right now.
But the problem's been with some of his rosters over his 7 years is that they're so deep that I think he felt obligated to have to play these guys all the time, and that really became a problem. All right, real quick, up against the clock.
Sure.
Smith goes to Kansas State. Isn't that ironic? Didn't Tomlin come from Kansas State last year to Memphis?
Completed the trade for Naquan Tomlin a whole 11 months later.
The player to be named later was Tyreek Smith.
Exactly.
What does he add to the fold for Kansas State? Are you familiar with that team at all?
A little bit. I know they got Coleman Hawkins and a bunch of interesting pieces in the portal. But it's not even going to matter because according to the On3 report, and this is something that Boog Knight, his mentor, had told me after Tyreek jumped in the portal or days after, that he's planning on redshirting the rest of the season.
Oh, okay.
And, then playing next year, just so he can get fully acclimated to the new system and get comfortable.
Yeah, and get some more money this year, and then more money next
Hey, man,
year.
you know how it
Whatever,
goes.
however it works.
Gotta get that bag.
Safe travels out to San Francisco.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to assume no Parth next week because he'll be in Hawaii, and the time difference would be you'd be up at 4 in the morning.
It's a
talking
4-hour
about-
time difference,
So
yeah.
enjoy yourself, and then we'll get back in a couple weeks.
No doubt. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you,
You
Parth.
could just stay up all night and then go to bed after. doing
I could try to do it.
Yeah, if you're at an all-night luau and you just happen to want to call in, that's fine too.
It's
So-
not. If it was Vegas, you could do that. Hawaii, it's a little harder.
Right.
But Hawaii, things shut down. Vegas, they don't. So it's a little difficult out there in Hawaii. Genesis Diamonds with the holiday season upon us. Get on over to Genesis Diamonds. If maybe thinking about popping the question, looking for that perfect engagement ring, or just any beautiful piece of jewelry for a special someone on that holiday gift list this year. Genesis Diamonds will take care of you. Unbelievable selection from all the top designers, great prices, direct importer pricing, and great service as well. You'll find it all at Genesis Diamonds, Poplar at Perkins Extended.
All right, one segment to go. We'll come back and wrap things up in just a moment. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 at 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Quirky's Barbecue in Cordova.
The holidays are near, and Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Generators is here to make this season extra cozy and cheerful. For the first 50 customers who purchase a new Carrier system, tankless water heater, or a whole home generator, we have a special gift for you. Choose from a $500 gift card or 60 months no interest financing. And don't forget about Choate's Refer a Friend referral program, where you can earn up to $500. Simply refer a friend to use our services, and if they become a customer, you could earn up to a $500 Visa gift card. But hurry, this festive offer will only last through December 20th. Visit ChoatesHVAC.com or call 347-8086 to schedule your free estimate today. And turn to the experts with Choates and let our family serve your family this holiday season.
Summer may be over, but yard work, it goes on. Don't worry, Colonial Hardware makes it easy for you. Colonial Hardware has all the lawn and garden tools you need from the best brands in the business. Ferris, Snapper, Husqvarna, Toro, Echo, Shindaiwa, and Billingham. Servicing most brands of lawn equipment, Colonial's master service techs will keep you going year-round. Colonial Hardware, family-owned and operated, and serving you for nearly 50 years. Next to Bass Pro and Lincoln at Sycamore View, and online at ColonialHardwareInc.com.
You know the great thing about having an event catered by Central Barbecue?
What was that?
They turn any event into a cookout.
You stole that directly from their website.
Well, I didn't expect you to have looked at their website.
I've got events coming up. It's the holiday season, and there's no better way to make things easier than to have Central Barbecue cater it.
They have everything. Box lunches, meat platters, nacho bar kits.
And half and full sheet pans of their traditional barbecue sides. I'm looking at the website right now. You're quoting it verbatim.
Not exactly verbatim.
Word for word. This is a new level of lazy even by your standards.
That doesn't make it any less true. You can't beat Central Barbecue Catering.
It's just plagiarism.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 9:51 the time. Thanks to Parth for moving his schedule from his normal time on Wednesday at 9:25 to Tuesday. And joining us today as he's getting ready to head out to San Francisco. Should be a fun trip.
That's a great trip. It's a long trip, that's for sure. But it's San Francisco's a great city. And then obviously Hawaii is Hawaii, and the fact that you get to break up the flight to Hawaii is a nice.
It's really nice.
That's a bonus because it's a long enough flight as it is from San Francisco out to Hawaii. So yeah, getting a chance to break that up makes it very nice.
Well, I guess most trips,
and when you're doing it on somebody else's dime, that even makes it better.
Right, but most trips coming from, I would imagine, there's some planes that can go from the East Coast all the way to Hawaii, but I think most you're going to have to refuel somewhere in California or somewhere else before you head to Hawaii, especially if you're coming from the East Coast, you're coming from Memphis. I would think, because every time I've gone out there, it's been like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously the flight. I'm saying like you get to go to a city and spend a few days there, and then go to Hawaii rather than having to just fly to Hawaii in one day.
First time I went, we went to L.A. and we had to hang in the airport, right? And then flew straight on to Honolulu, then Honolulu to Maui. It was a commercial flight, but I was with the Tigers coaches and the team, and we stopped in LAX. And in our concourse, they were filming a movie. So we're watching them film a movie. And then got into the other plane and went on to Honolulu. Yeah, it was wild stuff. The Mike Tyson fight and Jake Paul got an $18.1 million gate, which is a new Vegas record. It's not Vegas, sorry. It's the biggest, let's say, it's the biggest draw in boxing. It was at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. It ended up being a massive success with a record-breaking gate. So that number, 18.1 million, is the most ever for a gate for a boxing match. Now, it was a success in that regard. It was not a success as far as people enjoying it, and I don't think they'll ever watch either one of these guys again if Tyson does fight again. And if Paul fights, unless he fights Canelo Alvarez or Triple G or something like that, somebody who's actually, and I'm not sure if Triple G's even retired. I'm talking about some of the best boxers there are today, and then I can watch to get his, hiney handed to him. That's the only reason I would watch. But other than that, I ain't watching any. I am not going to fall for this crap anymore. It's over. But there was over 72,300 fans for an $18.1 million gate. That's crazy.
Yeah, when they showed the crowd during the fight, so I was like, man, it looks like the place is like full, which blew my mind that anybody would want to sit upstairs in that place to watch box. You wouldn't even be able to see.
No,
the people.
Well, you're watching the jumbotron, I'm sure, right? The big screen.
And that one, you do. I mean, you have to. But it's like, why? I don't know why you want to. I don't know why you want to be at that event.
You know what I think it is, Eli? I think people just want to say that they were at the event. Now they could always say it and lie, but
the good news is from up there you would see every punch that was thrown because there weren't any.
Yeah, I think people just want to, be at the event.
And at least the building didn't start. At least no giant pieces of metal fell down into the ring and killed anybody during that fight.
Maybe it was that was set to happen during that fight, and it just happened to fall yesterday.
By the way,
they were trying to kill Paul.
At the beginning of the broadcast last night, I still can't figure out if Joe Buck was joking or not. I don't know if you saw this, but he came on and he's like, and he immediately says, the roof is open here at AT&T Stadium for the first time, and now it was like, I don't know how many years since they played a game with the roof open. And then he's like, oh, no, they closed it.
Yeah. I didn't get it either.
Like, he had to know it was closed. Like, Lisa Salters was reporting on the thing 2.5 hours earlier about and the fact that the NFL had said that they needed to close it because they didn't feel comfortable with it being open or whatever. Like, certainly Joe Buck got that word. Or he just looked up and saw that the roof was closed. Like, if you're getting ready to open with saying the roof's open, you may want to say, like, oh, no, actually, no, it's not. It's not open. Like, I don't know. I couldn't know if he was, like, joking, like, saying, like, oh, it was supposed to be open, but no, how did they closed it? Or if he, like, literally didn't realize that they had actually closed the roof.
You know his sense of humor. He's the kind of guy that make a joke about that. I think he was joking. But I was caught off
the
guard
way he
as well.
said it. I don't think he was joking. I get like Joe, well, he said the thing about the curtain later in the game, which was actually pretty funny. But the way he said that one, I almost felt like it wasn't a joke. Because it would be a weird joke.
It is, but, hey, the roof is open. No, it's not. I don't know. He's got a dry sense of humor. I'd be surprised if he didn't realize that the thing had closed. I mean, you're right. After Lisa Salters reports it, and all he has to do is look up at any time and see that was the case. Real quick before we roll, congratulations to a couple of former Memphis Tiger football players. They are Grey Cup champions with the Toronto Argonauts. The Canadian Football League linebacker Wynton McManus had 6 tackles and an interception in the Grey Cup, and wide receiver DeMonte Coxey had 3 catches for 29 yards. Congratulations to the 2 former Memphis Tigers. They are Grey Cup champions with the Toronto Argonauts. That is going to do it for us today. I want to thank you folks for listening. Thanks to our guests, Connor O'Gara, Dane Bradshaw, and Parth Upadhyay. We're back tomorrow from 7 to 10. Jerry Palm will join us at 8:25. We'll talk with DeMichael Cole on the Grizzlies at 9:05. And Jonah Dillon, some Memphis Tiger football, maybe even some Grizzlies with him at 9:25 as he'll pinch hit for Parth, with Parth moving up a day to today. We'll have Jonah Dillon in at 9:25 with us tomorrow on the show. Well Known Friends on Sports 56 is coming up next. For Eli Savoy and Elijah Seegers, I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great day, everybody.